we'll get to Judge and MVPs. Is Judge the MVP? Is it a Shohei Ohtani? We'll talk about the home run record. Judge is 51 homers in with a month to go, 30-something games to play. He's on pace for 64. What's the real number? I mean, let's hammer it out tonight. Is it 73? Is it 61? What do you guys believe? We're going to talk about that tonight. We're going to talk a lot of football. Jets, Giants are a week away, a little over a week away from their first game, and the NFL's a week away from opening night. So we got a lot to talk about, guys. There's just no end to what we could talk about tonight, and I look forward to getting Jeff on in a minute. He has not popped up yet, but I'm sure he'll be around shortly. But thanks, and again, remember this Sunday, September the 4th, will be our very first Sunday Audible show. John Marhefka, Jeff, and myself will be pounding out about an hour, and I think Rafael Esparza, I got to send him out a message tonight. Hopefully we'll get Rafael on, and we'll get our very first show of year 2 of the Sunday Audible this Sunday morning, 9 a.m. right here on the Sunday Audible Network. Please go to SundayAudible.com for more information on this show and all other shows. And, of course, make sure if you're going to buy your NFL gear for this season, go to the Sunday Audible show and follow the links to Fanatics so we get some credit and you get some great deals. So, again, lots to get to, plenty to talk about. We welcome you all back for another edition of the Hard Rock and Sports Show, and thanks for popping up. Lots and lots and lots to talk about. I hope you guys have had a great week. I'll say better than a lot of people. I think our current president and our former president both have very rough weeks. So I think it's safe to say that the bloom is off the apple on both ends. It's kind of crazy. And also, thank God, our current mayor of New York City has put in the no gun zone in Times Square. I wonder if that's the cops or the bad guys. Bold. I wonder who doesn't get to carry a gun in the no gun zone. Has to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my time. I'm sorry, folks. It's just dumb. It really is. It's dumb. This guy who people elected mayor of New York City has to be one of the most disappointing that I've ever seen so far. Now, again, the guy's got 3 years left on his term. 3.5 years. So we'll see. But he's done nothing but show up in fancy clothes to big parties, and I'm sure he's gearing himself up for a run at the presidency. Maybe in 24, probably more like 28. But so far, this guy's all bark and zero bite. If you go through Manhattan, nothing has changed. It's just getting worse. He has not made 1 ounce of difference so far that I could see. He talks a great game, so we'll hope he turns it around. I don't root against him because I have no skin in the game. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote against him. You want New York City to turn around and be as great as it should be. He should really, if he had any brains, he would call up. If you don't want to call Giuliani, call Commissioner Bratton, call Ray Kelly, get a real police commissioner, get him on the phone, find out what they did and how they did it, and fix the city the way it deserves to be fixed. But that's my rant of the day. Again, guys, plenty of stuff to talk about. Jeff just popped up. I see my dad on the line. So let's kick the show into high gear and get to Hard Rock. What's up, Gumari Lou? Lou, I cannot believe Blake Martinez got cut. He must be slower than I expected on the return. Very shocking news. Giant Land for picking up a guard was amazing. I didn't get a chance to read it before the show. So, I can use some more information if you can get it for me. But in the meantime, let's get this show started. Again, Thursday, September the 1st. I can't believe we're going to be talking Thanksgiving soon. Let's get my buddy, my pal, the sexiest man on his side of the screen, my buddy for 40 years and hopefully another 40, Mr. Jeff Hefe Telwinski. What's up, brother? What are you smiling about? What could you possibly be smiling about?
You know what I'm smiling about. You know what I'm smiling about.
Keep it to yourself.
This is unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
No, that's not unbelievable. I mean, guy's coming off a major injury. I'm assuming that he just, they had some really good linebackers in camp. There was a couple guys I really enjoyed. This kid Salacho that they had picked up, played really well. They had some good players. I'm not a huge Tate Crowder fan, but I am surprised. It didn't make sense unless he's just not himself, Jeff. That's
I want to see where I could find a I want to read you what they said.
Yeah, I saw it briefly on Pro Football Talk, which I read all the time. I just didn't get a chance to read the article. I got home really late. I didn't get home till about 6:20 tonight. So I was scrambling to get on the air. I haven't eaten. I haven't had a chance to stop. But I'm pumped to get on the air today. We got so much to talk about. Tom Brady news. We got
what's up, Michael?
Russell Wilson signs a extension to 2028 today. There's just so much football talk out there, Jeff. We got plenty of baseball to talk about tonight. You know,
let me give you this. Let me give you this real quick.
Let's do that. Then let's get my dad on, and then we'll run through the night. Go ahead.
The new Giants coaching staff never seemed to have much use for Blake Martinez, the veteran inside linebacker. As it turns out, Martinez will not be playing for that new staff as it was released on Thursday. The move is surprising but not shocking given the nature of the way the spring and summer went down with Martinez. He was coming off surgery to repair a torn ACL, an injury that limited him to 3 games last season. Martinez made a full recovery and was able to participate in the latter stages of training camp and got into the preseason games. Something did not connect, though. Martinez was not a fit in the new defensive coordinator Wink Martindale's pressure-filled scheme, but he was the only proven inside linebacker on the roster. That was the sentence I was looking for. He had 151 tackles in 2020, which was just
the guy's
2
a
years
tackling
ago.
machine. The guy's a machine. Oh, there's no doubt.
And only proven inside linebacker. I just don't understand why they would make such a move, man.
Here's the thing, Jeff. And I love Blake Martinez. In fact, I picked him up in my fantasy league as my linebacker, so I'm really disappointed right now. But sometimes a guy doesn't fit into a scheme of a coach. There are guys who Wink Martindale's defense is based on coming at you from every angle. Linebackers blitzing, corners blitzing, safeties coming at you, putting pressure on you constantly. And Blake Martinez might not be that guy. And I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a tackling machine. Other than last year when he got hurt, the guy's 150 tackles a year. So it just may be a situation where he doesn't fit the system. But having said that, why would you wait till now to figure that out? If he wasn't making it, why? That's the part that perplexes me. Why not do this 2-3 weeks ago?
Well, how about this? Not saying that the guy was going to do another 150 tackle season.
Right.
Well, let's say that he's, going to be somewhere in that neighborhood. He's only 2 years removed from it.
Sure.
How do you replace that?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Play.
Hey, I'm with you on that one, Jeff. 100%.
I'll tell you the truth, Tom. Listen, I understand what you're saying. Maybe sometimes a player is not a player for that system, but they just got back into it, and the guy just started playing again. How do you know if he's going to not be in that system, good in that system? He hasn't really played much. I don't know.
No, I
would be worried about this Giants coaching staff already if this is what they're going to do to a player.
Here's what I'll say. I agree with you. There's a lot to question on this one. Why wait till so late? Why not make a move to somebody else? If he's healthy and the only thing is he's clashing because he doesn't fit the system, you should have known this weeks ago and had Carter Coughlin or this kid Salatra or other guys playing more regularly in the system and not taking time away from them to play Blake Martinez if you weren't sure you were keeping him. So on that end, Jeff, I agree with you. That's a bad move by the coaching staff. Now, if this is something
how about trying to trade him before?
100%. Listen, 100%. This is a guy on a normal team will get you, 120, 130 tackles a year. He's a machine. So again, he probably doesn't fit, but you got to know that months ago, weeks ago. So I agree. It's a very shaky thing. Now, I like the fact, hey, listen, if you got a system and you want to play it, I'm all for it. You're a coach. You come in, this is somebody else's pickup from 2-3 years ago. I get it, but I don't like the fact that they waited till now. You're right. You could have traded him. You could have released him a month ago and then worked in a bunch of other guys. There were guys you released that you could, I'm sure they had a plan. I don't understand why 2 days after cuts, this is the move that got made. It's very questionable in my brain, and I'm with you on this one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, listen, if it was a guy, it was a part-time player, and he had a big season, or, if 1 year he was 50 tackles, 50 tackles, 50 tackles, 150 tackles, 50-50, then I'll be like, all right, he just had a great year one year. But, I remember you talking about this guy.
Yeah.
And Wink Martindale, he's somebody who's been in the league for a while, too.
10 years or better as a defensive coordinator, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Who am I to say questionable move? But
No, I think it is a
and I see
questionable
Lou
move.
Pika says that they say he was clashing with the new staff.
But that couldn't have happened just this week. That had to have been happening for a while now. Maybe he just didn't like the system. And I'm with you. And again, my only question is why wait till now? Here's the thing.
I agree, Tom. I
You know,
totally agree.
This isn't like, hey, Micah Parsons became available yesterday, and we want to go with a younger, cheaper version, so we're going to release him. That makes sense. But they picked up a guard today, which listen, they need all the help they can get on the offensive line right now with everybody being injured, and I'm with that. But you can't tell me that this was the guy to make the move with this late in the camp. It baffles me. So listen, I hope the coaching staff knows what they're doing. I'm counting on it. I'm hoping that the Wink Martindale's system is going to work better with different guys in it. And I wish Blake Martinez well. I think the guy's a fantastic player, has been great for the Giants in the couple years he's been here, and a good player in Green Bay before that. So we'll see. Listen, who are we to question it? Again, just why so?
We are the fans, Tom. We are the fans.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
We do have to question these things. We do the Hard Rock and Sports Show. You release a guy that 2 years ago, before he got injured, was 150 tackles, and in typical Giant coaching, you get rid of a major guy. What happens next? Who do they get rid of next? Think of the guys that they should have gotten rid of that they didn't. You know what I mean? You get rid of a 150 tackle guy, all right, but you keep Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really bring in a second quarterback, or you bring in Tyrod Taylor, but I would have brought another quarterback in to challenge Jones. And especially since you didn't pick up his last year as option,
mm-hmm.
I don't know. Hopefully, this Giant coaching staff, starts to right the ship a little bit for their own sake.
Well, I'll defend the. Hey, Leonard, how are you, buddy? I'll defend the Giant coaching on the quarterback situation. Here's the thing: if you would have went and tried to get I'm just going to use names. This is not somebody I would want, but a Trubisky or a Baker Mayfield, their money is probably 15 or 20 million a year, because they were starters at one point. By bringing in Tyrod Taylor, you saved a good amount of money, and you still get a dependable backup. So I understand your point is well taken, because you want to have a guy who can lead your team in the event that either Jones falls apart or gets hurt. But in their defense, to bring it, if Jones comes in and plays great, and they spent money on a Matt Ryan or Mitch Trubisky or Mayfield, now you got an expensive backup on the bench.
No, I agree with you. You got to cap it someplace.
Correct.
I understand what you're saying, but understand this. You brought in a career backup in Tyrod Taylor.
Yes.
He started a couple games. I think it was in Buffalo, a couple seasons he was a starter, but never really caught on.
No.
Most of it sometimes due to injury.
Yeah.
If I remember right, didn't he got injured in Cleveland? He got injured in San Diego.
Denver, he was a starting quarterback until they gave him the shot in the chest, remember? And then also he lost his job after that.
Yeah, but you know what? You also lost your job to the number one pick in the draft.
100%. Listen, and again, I agree. I think what you get out of that Tyrod Taylor is he's a bona fide backup. He's not going to be what you saw with Mike Glennon last year, who was couldn't complete a pass. He'll go out there and he'll play well. He's not going to win you big games. He's not going to the Super Bowl, but he'll be a competent, guy who can play. That's the good part of Tyrod Taylor.
I hear you. I know exactly what you're saying, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is simply this: if you kept Jones and you signed him to the 5th year, his option year, then I agree with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Without signing Jones, the coaching staff is evidently not afraid to let go of any proven commodities. Okay, and I'll consider Blake Martinez a proven commodity right
100%,
now.
100%. Yep, 100%.
So proven otherwise.
Yeah.
I just worry that if need be and you need to go to him, is Tyrod Taylor going to be the answer?
No.
Is it maybe worth? But I'm talking even short term, because now Daniel Jones is fighting for his own job in his own way.
Yeah,
because he doesn't have a contract next year.
Well, but I think that's the carrot.
So then why not get somebody? You don't have to go up as high as a Trubisky or a.
Let me ask you a question: Who's in between Trubisky, Mayfield, and Tyrod Taylor that you would put in the category to say he's probably not much more money, but he's better than what you took. You know what I'm saying? Think of that guy. That's the point. I'm like, who is that guy?
Didn't they
I don't
just
know.
get Bridgewater too?
No, Bridgewater. There was I heard somebody talk about that. Bridgewater, as far as I know, is still in Miami.
I thought okay. Well,
It was
I
talked
thought
about.
he was going. I thought that it was talk.
Well,
I don't know.
I think the talk was because Tyrod Taylor got hurt, and they weren't sure how hurt he was. If it was going to be a long-term thing, I think they would have made the trade for Bridgewater. Now that I think Taylor just has a bruised back, he'll be back for game 1. They didn't need him.
Yeah, I don't know who I would have gotten, Tom, but I know this much: if I don't have a quarterback under wraps for next year, then I think I would have brought one in that I could have maybe transitioned from. To me, I'm only going by how I see it. I feel as though that if they're not gonna take Jones and have him on a contract for next year, that he's probably not in the plans for next year.
No, I disagree.
So that's why I say that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the basic plan is this. Everybody's unsure. They didn't coach him for the last 3-4 years. There's a lot of upside with Jones. There's a lot of, well, if he had better coaching, if he had more consistency, he'd be better. But there's also, he gets hurt. He has a penchant for throwing interceptions. It's been better the last couple of years, but it's still there. And hey, he wasn't our draft point choice, so we don't want to commit to him until we get to see him. Let me ask you, if that option to sign him for next year was due now, I bet you the conversation would be a lot different than it was in March when they really didn't have a chance to coach the guy.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but it's just the idea that that this year is going to be a wash.
Well, you don't know that yet. Again, we don't know. Who knows?
Brand new coaching staff. You got too many questions with wide receiver.
Yep.
You questions at running back.
Yep.
Questions with the defense.
Offensive line. There's a lot of
offensive line. This isn't a playoff team.
No,
and if you're thinking 6 or 7 wins is going to be something that like you could hang your hat on, then I don't know what to tell you. But I will say this much: if you don't have the quarterback for next year, or you don't believe in the quarterback, you don't sign him to an extension. And I think that's what's going on with the Giants.
It's very possible. I just think it was the thought process was too quick for a new coaching staff to make a decision on a 5th year for a guy they weren't sure of. And I don't blame them. And you know what, to be honest with you, it's a great carrot. I don't think the kid needs he's never been questioned on his work ethic or the ability to put the time and effort in. I think it's just a matter of, hey, can you learn the new system? Can you take it up another notch? And can you stay healthy? So I think, like I said, I think if that deadline was not March and it was August, I think it might be a different conversation. From everything I've read, they rave about the kid. Now, you still got to get on the field and do it. You still got to get on the field.
Listen, everybody does great in the preseason, like you just said. So you got that going for you.
Yeah.
Second, he has to play against number 1 starters.
Yep.
Not second stringers and third stringers.
100%.
So yeah, let's see what he does first. I understand what you're saying, but I just feel as though that in a situation like that, if you had a quarterback and you knew that he was the guy, you would have locked him up.
I agree with him.
Next year, this year, that's one less thing you got to worry about. Them not locking him up, I don't think they're in love with him.
I agree with you on a lot of it. I think it was just too quick. But hey, guys, Hard Rocket Sports, Jeff and Tom here on Thursday night. Well, like we always are, glad you guys stopped by. We're going to talk a lot of baseball. I want to talk about who's the MVP. Do you buy into this Shohei Ohtani on a second to last place team? Is it Aaron Judge? Ohtani may be the best player in the league, but is he the MVP? I want to talk to Jeff and my dad about what's the real baseball number and why. What is it? 73 homers for Barry Bonds? Is it 61? Is it a combination? We're going to get to a lot of baseball talk. We'll talk Yankees, Mets. We're going to get to a lot of baseball, lots of football. I got an Ozzy story for you. I got plenty of things to talk about. Hang in there. Let's get my dad on the phone and let's take it. Hold on.
We're going to have to go back to Matt's.
Yeah, hold on. Real quick before you go, I'm not a Giants fan by any means, but I disagree with a lot of points you both make. I agree with Jones. With Jones on many points that you brought up, but I don't think there's that much of a question on defense. And definitely they drafted some excellent players the last couple of years. But Barkley stays healthy. Hate to say it, but the Eagles are the team to watch. I agree with you, Matt, on everything you said. I think the Giants
excellent players. This team hasn't fucking done dick in the last 10 years.
I agree with you, Jeff, but I agree with Matt. The Giants, listen, I think the draft was great. I think there's a future for this team. Like I feel like that for the Jets. Again, does Barkley stay healthy, and does he produce? Is Jones the quarterback? And a lot of these answers we're going to find out early this year. If these guys are, and that's a few pieces, this team could be competitive in 2 years. I like Martindale's approach. I think he's with they're short corners. I'm not crazy about the safety. Love's a good player, but he's not. I don't think he's a full-time NFL player. So I agree with Matt on that, and I do think the Eagles might be the best team in that division. It's very possible. I'm not high on the Cowboys. I think there's a lot of questions there. I think that the communists are horrendous. But we're going to come back to Matt. Let's get to my dad, talk some baseball, whatever he's up for, and then we'll come on back. What's up, Pop?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. Just a couple of things. The Martinez, the football linebacker, I think there's more behind it than what they're telling you. Maybe something with drugs, maybe something at home, a wife smacker. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Good questions. It's an odd move. It's an odd move.
You don't get rid of a guy unless they know something about his body or something, but everything was the last minute. And the other question now, define to me what you consider most valuable play. What is your each one?
Yeah, again, here's the way I look at it, and I'm going to use Aaron Judge as my guy, as my way to define it. If you
not given the MVP this year so far.
Yeah, if you took Aaron Judge away from the Yankees this year, they are at probably a 500 team or just above that and fighting for a playoff spot. He is by far the best player on their team and the reason why they're in the position where they are right now. So he, to me, because the Yankees have the wins they have, because they're in first place all year, because they've dominated most of the first half, Aaron Judge is the most valuable player in the league. He might not be the best player, although I think he is. You could make the argument that Shohei Ohtani, because he does both things so well. I mean, the guy's hit 30 homers. He's a dominant pitcher. He may be the most talented, best player in the league, but if you took him off the team, they'd be in exactly the same spot they're in right now.
What do you think, Jeff?
I'm not watching baseball much, Mr. Fleury, but it's hard to disagree with what Tommy's saying. You know, the guy is injected a lot into that team, and not for nothing, but the Yankees are synonymous with home runs because of all of the home run hitters they've had throughout the year. So it's hard to envision the Yankees without a home run hitter. Right. And Judge is definitely.
I'll give you a good quote. Give you a good quote and you probably know the quote. It came from the owner of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ralph Kiner was hitting 50-something home runs, and he went to the Pirates and asked them for a raise. And they said, "Why should we give you a raise?" And he said, "Well, I hit 50-something home runs." He said, "Yeah, but I could finish in last place with or without you. So what good is your 50 home runs doing for me? They're not doing anything." Yeah. And I feel the same way about Ohtani. The guy's a good ball player, but if you took him off the team, like you guys said, if you took him away, would they be in first place? No. But if you took what's his name off, it would be
Aaron Judge.
Judge, same thing.
So I think I've said it for a couple of years now. We've had this conversation a couple of times, but it's really stark this year. And I think here's the thing. You either have to change the definition of MVP to to best player in the league, most outstanding player, to make it about just the player itself. When you call it most valuable, it means you're of extreme value to your team. When you're in last place or you're fighting for second to last place, I'm sorry, you just can't be that valuable. You could still be the best player, no doubt about it, but you're not valuable. So if I took, like Jacob deGrom could not be the most valuable player. Why? Because without him, the Mets are still playing great baseball. So it comes down to, if I took you off that team, what would happen to that team? And Aaron Judge Yankees without Aaron Judge would be at best fighting for a second wild card team in the league. So that's, to me, the true definition, Jeff, of most valuable player. If you want to make it about the best player, change the name of the award.
Yeah, listen, I hear that, but look at what that kid in California is doing too.
It's great.
He pitches and he's out in the field and well, actually, no, he's a
he
hitter, correct?
Yeah, he could. But he also plays outfield. But yeah, he's basically a DH or a pitcher. But Jeff, I agree with you. He may be the best player in the league. He might be the best player in the league.
It's not his fault.
But is that valuable?
But it's not his fault that this team is not.
No. I agree with that. But again, if I took him off that team, are they any better or worse? No. So how is that valuable?
What do you consider valuable? Jeff,
right.
What do you consider valuable? Do you consider a guy that's really good but plays on a suck team? I agree with you. There was guys that Ernie Banks. Ernie Banks was one of the best third basemen around. And look what happened.
What do I consider valuable? What do you consider
valuable? Without him, would you finish?
The most valuable has to be somebody that's an above average fielder and above average on the bases, could maybe take the chances stretching a single into a double and so on. Somebody that could hit for power when need be. Somebody that's a complete player.
You're doing about the guy that's the best ball player.
Right. That's the thing, Jeff. I agree with you. If you change the name of the award to most outstanding player, best player in the league award, I'm with you. Then you go by individual and what you do for yourself. That helps your team, of course. But when you say to me, hey, that guy's the most valuable player in this league, the problem is for years it's always been about the best player. It shouldn't be. It should be a guy who's also, again, you got to be a good player.
You say the best player is the most valuable player?
Say again?
Wouldn't you say that the best player is also the most valuable player?
Not necessarily. Look, again, Shohei Ohtani is probably the best player. Mike Trout may be the best player in the league, and I'm not doubting it. But you have two of the best players in the league on the same team, and they're still fighting for last place. Aaron Judge is almost as talented as those guys, and he might be more talented, but yet without him, the Yankees are a completely different and probably 30 games less team and wins. So I think that's, again, it's semantics, but it comes down to, are you valuable to your team, or are you the best player in the league? And I think that's where the award goes awry.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's the point. Listen,
I think you guys are dissecting the award a little bit too much.
No. Yes, Jeff. No. I agree with you. Yes, I agree with you. We are, but what I'm saying, what we're trying to accomplish is, while we understand the theory behind the current MVP award is basically goes to the best player in the league, what it stands for, MVP, most valuable, is different than best player.
Well, a lot of people are going to disagree with that. They're going to say valuable and best. If I say to you, my most valuable car is this Porsche that I have here, and then you may say, well, what's your best car? Well, it's like, well, it's got to be the Porsche, of course. What do you think it is?
No. But Porsche if you're talking valuable, that your Porsche is worth more money than your Cadillac, I would say I understand that.
I agree.
If you're saying your best running car, which would be your MVP car, is your Cadillac, there's your two separations.
I think it comes down to, again, how do you decipher the award? And again, for me, if I got two or three players, all right, let's put it this way, Jeff. You got three players. Everybody's stats are basically the same, which is what you got right now. Judge has got a lot of homers. He's batting 300. Ohtani's hitting 30-something homers. He's pitching great. Okay, now it's fairly even. What's the next thing you would look for at that point? To me, I'm looking for, well, how did he help his team, right? Because if all the numbers are basically even, what's the next thing?
The numbers are not even. The numbers are not even. No, they're not. And I'll tell you why they're not even.
Why?
Because even if Judge, let's just say Judge is definitely going to hit, I feel, more than 61 home runs.
All right, let's say he hits 58. Let's just use 58. So he does, because 61 would probably put him over the top. Let's say he only hits 58.
I also think that he may challenge for the Major League Baseball record this year.
Okay.
But whatever, doesn't matter. Let's just say he hits more than 61. Okay.
Okay.
The kid from Los Angeles, not only is he hitting home runs and hitting the ball well,
Right.
he's also pitching.
Agreed.
You can't get much more valuable than that to a team.
But you're not doing nothing.
But Jeff,
You're not
his
doing
team's
nothing.
his team's in the basement.
His
Doesn't matter if
base-
you're in the basement.
No.
It can't be.
if you
It
took
can't
him
be
away-
valuable. It can't be
Yeah.
valuable.
Oh, wait a
if
minute,
your
wait a
team's
minute,
playing in the
guys. Both can't yell at me at the same time.
I'm
All right,
sorry.
one at a time. One at a
I
time.
apologize.
Go first. I got that.
No. What I'm trying to say, Jeff, is what your interpretation of valuable is.
Right.
If you consider who has the best, I agree with you. Ohtani he can run. He can. I don't know about his fielding. He can hit.
He's a good ball
and he
player.
can- okay. He's an all-around ball player.
Absolutely.
I think he's better than Trout. to
He might be
honest
the
with
best
you.
player in baseball.
Right.
You can make that
He's
argument
on
for
a-
sure.
he's on a
We
last
probably
year.
haven't seen a player of his magnitude
Agreed.
since last century.
Sure. Again,
Ruth,
I'm
Who was
not
the last guy that played? Maybe Babe Ruth was the last guy that pitched and
Yeah.
played the field.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, hit like that. I mean, the pitchers back in the day would hit, but only not like this guy where he plays every night as a hitter and then one night takes off and
Now,
bats.
The
So
reason that I would make an argument now, I firmly believe that Judge is going to get the MVP just because home runs. That's where it's at right
Sure,
now.
I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's what people want to see.
Sure.
They don't want to see a guy like I can't even Ohtani.
Yeah.
I can't even, okay.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to really see that because he's pitching every couple days. He's in the doesn't play the field as much, but
Yeah.
he's doing something that nobody else is doing right now in Major League Baseball. He's pitching at a high quality and he's hitting at a high quality.
I agree. Listen, I agree with that. I think it's very valuable to a certain extent. I think, and again, I would, if you said to me, I think he's the best player in baseball, I'd have no problem with it because he's doing both at a very high level. So I think that's great. I think it just comes down to how you interpret the MVP award. So to me, there's a lot of great there. There's a lot of great with Judge. Okay, so now it's fairly even. Now I say to myself, what's the tiebreaker? So the tiebreaker to me is how well does their team play because of them? Again, if Judge had 5 other guys on the team, who, like if he was Mookie Betts on the Dodgers, you say Mookie Betts is a good player, but if you took Mookie Betts out, you still got Freeman and Trey Turner. You still got a handful of guys who can play. Well, if I took Judge off the Yankees, they're 30 games, 25 games different. That's for me personally, that's the thing I would like to make the MVP award about. Not only individual stats, but how you make your team that much better or how they would play without you. So
now, let me ask you something. So in other words, you're saying that Aaron Judge is the MVP winner for the American League this year.
my opinion, there's no doubt in my mind right now. If it ended today,
Right now, right now, if it ended today, okay.
Yep.
Let's just say
Mhm.
that Judge gets hurt
Mhm.
like he does every year.
Yep.
Okay. And now he only hits 3 home runs for the rest of the year.
Mhm.
Maybe gets 10 RBIs, and that's that. Then a
Mhm.
promising season just circles the drain like a turd going
Right.
down.
Yep.
You still say he's the MVP.
Yes, I still say at this point,
Still think he has an MVP caliber season.
yeah. Again, if Jeff, he has 3 more homers. He's got 54 homers. He's got well over 100 RBIs. He's batting 300. And when he walked away, the team's got 80 something wins, and they are 30 games over 500. Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind. Now, this is a month and a half ago. It may be different, but today, if it ended right now, September 1st, if Judge's season was over, he's the MVP. And to me, it's hands down. It's not even an argument in my book.
Well,
But
listen,
again,
everybody's entitled to their
Oh,
opinion.
absolutely, and that's what this is. That's what it
That's
is.
what it
It's strictly opinion.
Nobody's ever
Yeah,
identified gave the definition.
well,
of the
that's the
most
problem.
valuable
Yes,
player.
that's the
It's
problem.
It's not like the Golden Glove award
Yeah.
for first baseman.
Yes.
Where it's strictly defense on his end. Now, it has nothing to do with hitting. It's strictly defense. Or it's still for bat award. That's strictly for hitting.
Yeah.
But most valuable player, you get into the same argument, the same thing. But how can a pitcher that has a Cy Young award be most valuable player?
I'm with you on that.
And
Can't be. Can't be.
Then why don't they add one more award to Major
Yes.
League Baseball,
Mhm.
and instead of calling it, you could still call it the MVP, but have the best player in the American League, best player in the National League, and then overall MVP. in Major League
I
Baseball.
understand. I agree.
I'll be with you on that.
Nothing
I'm
wrong
with
with
you.
that.
Yeah, if you,
Give
I'd
my
like to
vote.
be defined better. I'd like to see it defined better to the
Right.
point where it's, the most outstanding player. It shouldn't even be MVP. It should be most outstanding player. It should be Major League best player. I don't care. Then it's about you as an individual. But the minute you make it valuable, to me, that goes hand in hand with how well your team plays.
You got to think of the wording of it too, Tom. How old is this award? This is an award that's
Forever.
close to 100 years
No, it's
old.
not really that long.
No,
I think it only started in the 50s somewhere.
Hold on.
It's
Let me
not
check
that-
that out.
You could check that out. But they didn't have it when Ruth played Garrick and even DiMaggio. I don't think they had it back then.
I know. Mantle won
know.
it in the 50s a couple times. So hold on. Let me see. I'm gonna see if I get a list of it right now. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Hold on. Since 1931.
Really?
Yes.
I think it went back that far.
Yeah. Since 1931, it has been awarded by Baseball Writers of America until 2020. The winners received the Kennesaw Mountain Landis Award. Yeah. So the first one
Okay.
It was a
1931.
two-league award. They
don't
won?
know about that. It's been, boy, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know if they awarded it in both leagues. There is an American League MVP and the National League MVP, so it is dual.
But it was in each league then.
Yes, it has been. I don't know if it was then. I'm trying to find that right now. I don't know. I can't tell you when, if it was one and then it split, or if it was always dual. I don't know.
Well, yeah, first.
Let's see. Hold on. I'm trying to see the awards. Let's see. No, so okay. Since it's been 2 awards ever since 1931. The first one,
The
American
rule
League
changed the time for becoming the first. Wow, they have 1922 to 1929.
Yes, I see it, but they didn't call it the. I guess they did. Something. It was a league award. It wasn't the baseball player's the greatest. Here's what it said: baseball player who's the greatest all-around service to his club winner. That it wasn't the MVP.
Yes,
It became,
right. Something different.
became MVP in 1931. First
Okay.
winners in the American League was Lefty Grove, and the National League was Frankie Frisch, and then
Yeah.
it's gone from there. In fact, the Yankee didn't win that award until Lou Gehrig in 1936.
Wow.
The first Yankee.
We're gonna have to look into this offline
Yeah.
because they're saying American League was Ty Cobb in 1911, Trish Speaker in 1912, Walter Johnson 1913. This
Yeah.
is just American League.
Well, in American League, they called it the Chalmers Award.
Yes.
It was- yes. So it's different versions of it. The true MVP award. Jeff, you're right. It goes back to 1911, but the true
Babe Ruth
MVP
won it in
award-
1923.
Yeah, it was just different.
Lou Gehrig 1927. So there's a whole. We're gonna have to do a little more research on this.
Yeah,
one.
yeah. I want to read. There's a Wikipedia on it. You got to read the Wikipedia. It's very
Yeah.
insightful. So, but again,
About 19 pages long. So.
yeah, I'm all for an individual award that kind of nails down the best player in the league. It's just when you start making it valuable, I want to put a value on winning, and otherwise, what's the sense? You can be the best player. It's like the tallest midget in the circus. Who cares? You want a guy who takes his team and makes them better beside winning games, beside betting on your own personal stats. But right now, hands down, Aaron Judge is
You know what?
is that guy for me. When
DeGrom won the Cy Young Award, right,
Yeah.
which is basically the pitching MVP.
Yes.
Okay, he didn't have good stats. He
Nope.
didn't have hardly any stats,
No.
but he had the right stats in order to win the award. Don't you feel that somebody for the MVP and Cy Young, maybe should have the most home runs or RBIs or
No.
highest average or most wins as a pitcher, most strikeouts as a pitcher? They should do something that sets them apart from the rest of the league.
Yeah,
So
I
we
agree with
see
that.
Judge winning that this year because right now he's leading the entire league in home runs. And if he breaks a record, American League record, or maybe even baseball's record for home runs, I have no problem with him getting the MVP.
No, I don't think that's far fetched. I just think, sometimes, and again, I'm a huge, and I think my dad will attest to this. Sometimes a guy's stats don't tell the story. Then DeGrom a couple years ago was the perfect one. His team was bad, but the guy went out there and pitched to like a 1-something ERA, and just his team couldn't win. He would lose games 1-0 or 2-1. and
Yeah,
the guy
all right.
pitched
So
great.
what did he do? He had the best ERA in
Correct.
baseball.
Yes.
And that won him the Cy Young Award.
Probably right. Yes, but I don't think the stats have to be like Judge can have second most homers, third most RBIs, and second most batting average, but yet he's got 3 in those top 10, and then somebody's got the best, but then they're 5th in RBIs and they're 7th in runs. You know what I'm saying? Like your cumulative may be your 3 averages.
I know, but what I'm talking about, I'm not saying that they have to have one of those stats to win it.
Right.
But after they win it, they should have a stat to back them up. So, like, say Judge, for example, Judge hits 64 home runs this year. No questions asked. The guy's the most valuable player. He hit 64 home runs with his team, had 135 RBIs or something like that. It doesn't matter if he batted, 212. He still put up tremendous numbers, scored a lot of runs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something of that nature should be able, something that he did, something that the rest of the league did not do.
Not far-fetched, right? That I would say that's not far-fetched.
I agree. There's a lot of, it used to be, if you hit 500 home runs, you almost guaranteed Hall of Fame. If you won 300 games as a pitcher, you almost guaranteed the Hall of Fame. You could suck. But then there's pitchers. Mel Stoudemire, when he played for the Yankees, was one of the best pitchers around. But he played for such a terrible team. He won 20 games, but he lost a lot of games.
Sure, but again,
the sad part is you're never going to see a 500 home run hitter and a 300-game winner again. They're going to be an extra special player to get that kind of
That's
number.
why what he's doing right now, Judge, is very unique because it's a non-steroid. That's what even the Major League Baseball was saying it, that they're talking. The only way to separate it, they call it the American League batting home run championship against the National League.
Well, that's
the National League. The 3 people that own it were drugs.
Well, let's go, Dad. You got another minute, too, Dad? You got a couple
go
minutes?
ahead.
All right, so let's talk about the home run title because that was going to be my next topic anyway. So it's perfect segue, guys. So, there's been a lot of chatter. Judge is on pace. There's a really good chance that he'll get close to 60, 61. He's on pace for 64. So there was a big article in yesterday's Post. I don't know if anybody read it beside me, but they had one guy who came out and said, well, I understand that Judge is going for it, but Barry Bonds owns the record, whether we like it or not. He has 73, and it's in the record books. And there's the other guy who said, I know it's in the record books, but me personally and most baseball fans don't recognize it because of the taint behind it. And I'm with it. So in my brain, as a Major League Baseball fan, my whole life, I love the records. I love talking about it. I will count Judge if he gets 62 or better. I will count Judge as the home run champ because that's the way I feel. I think Maris is it right now because I don't buy into Barry Bonds' records for the lifetime, but because he hit 771 or something like that, and I don't buy into a season of 73 because of the taint behind it. So I'm personally going to say if Aaron Judge hits 62 homers, he's the home run champ of baseball, not just the American League. And Jeff, I know you're going to probably disagree with me.
No. Listen, the one thing I'm going to say is, in today's day and age, okay, you're going to have to eclipse that record to get Barry Bonds out of the books.
Agreed.
They're not going to just take him out of the books.
No, I agree with that.
It doesn't matter. They can have pictures of him. They can have video of him looking like a pincushion with steroid needles sticking all over him, going up to bat, and they're still going to let him keep that record.
Agreed.
Only because of the color of his skin.
Well, I think that's part of it. I also think that baseball doesn't want to have that taint of saying, "Oh, we've eliminated the record."
Could you imagine in today's day and age removing a black player from a record like that without him being?
Oh, I agree.
Forget about it.
The woke culture.
Oh my God, forget about it.
I agree, but Dad, as baseball fans like we are, and going through not just because we're Yankee fans and it's Aaron Judge and it was Roger Maris. I just don't believe in that record.
I agree with both of you, but what I seem to think, what I've been watching on a lot of the shows, the real true baseball fan, I'm not talking about guys that just hear scores and stuff. True, they actually know who holds the record. And if
Yeah.
you talk to any baseball player, they interviewed him on TV. The first thing they say is Roger Maris's home run record.
Yes.
He's got a good shot. They don't say back because he didn't. Now you can sit here all day and say he did this, he did that. You know, I hear the story. Well, he was taking steroids, but that wasn't illegal in baseball. But at the Hall of Fame, you listen. Out of every sport there is, I defied anybody to tell me that baseball is not the most noted record of anything.
Oh, of course.
You can talk around and ask people about the Yankees, the Mets, MVP, home run champion. Most people know it, or they're just about know it. Talk about any other sport. Who goes to a Football Hall of Fame? Who goes to the hockey? You don't even know where it is.
Well, I would say this. How many people out there actually know who holds the record for touchdown passes in the season and how many they are?
I gotta stop you right there, please. It's disgusting to bring up football stats.
Yeah.
And the reason it is because everything that happened before the Super Bowl just went into oblivion. They put it in a box and they stuck it in the closet.
You're
Nobody
right.
knows anything about any of that.
And the worst part is it's the NFL who's done it. It's not even the fans.
Whoever they
The
completely
NFL.
reinvented the league and buried all of those players' stats,
100%.
championships, and everything. The NFL started with Super Bowl one and became a new sport, and that's it.
Yep, you're 100. I couldn't agree with you more. I could not agree with you more.
Wants to go to the NFL Hall of Fame because they're not going to know half the players that are in the fucking Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Yeah, I agree, Jeff.
with you.
I think, but see, a lot of sports, it's the fans who don't pay attention. The problem, see, baseball, the one thing it's done is try to keep the history of the game alive by having Jackie Robinson Day, by having Lou Gehrig Day, by still talking about the Babe. Baseball still celebrates those early years. They still have awards named after these guys. They still talk about these guys. Jeff, you couldn't be more right. NFL has basically said, if it happened before 1967, we don't care. It's gone.
Didn't happen.
Yeah.
The Detroit Lions have won world championships. The Cleveland Browns have won world championships.
Yep.
The Pittsburgh, I forget who else it was, but I'm sorry, just those two teams alone, who have not ever went to a Super Bowl unless they bought a ticket, have NFL championships.
Hey, wait a second.
Nobody acknowledges them.
I'll give you a better one. Whenever they talk about championships, they only talk about the Super Bowl. So you'll say the Green Bay Packers have won 4 Super Bowls, but wait a second, the Packers won 2 or 3 NFL championships.
How many did the Giants have?
Yeah, well, Giants think they have 1 or 2 more before that, but that's the point. They don't even acknowledge those championships because they happened before the Super Bowl. So to me,
knows how many Chicago Bears must have. They were a whole team. The Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I think that's. Yeah, I agree with you, and that's bad by the. I think that's bad. But again, when you talk about, here's my bigger thing with Barry Bonds, guys. If you won't even vote him into the Hall of Fame because of the steroids, and that's why he's not in there, then how are we acknowledging his 73 homers? You won't let him in and you will not let him into the Hall of Fame, rightly so or not. But if you're not recognizing him as a Hall of Fame player, why am I acknowledging his 73 homers?
But that's not baseball doing it. It's
Great
the
point.
sports writers.
No, I got it.
Writers.
But the sports writers are the ones. I'm reading the newspaper. The sports writers are the ones saying Barry Bonds, 73 homers. That's the one. Great, no problem. Put him in the Hall of Fame. If you won't put him in the Hall of Fame, then why am I acknowledging his 73 homers as
Baseball can't keep him out. They can't keep out.
Well, they can't keep up, but they won't vote him in either.
They acknowledge his home runs, his career and season record home runs, won't put him in the Hall of Fame, and yet they won't put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame, and nor do they recognize his numbers, correct?
Yeah. So to me, that's right. But so that's the hypocrisy of it. So if you really believe that Barry Bonds is the true home run champ,
that they're not taking his
I got you. Then put him in the Hall of Fame. If you're not going to put him in the Hall of Fame, because think about it, he's got the most home runs lifetime, most home runs for the season. The guy's stats are incredible up to before he even got involved in steroids and after, and you won't put him in because of it. I'm not acknowledging his home run record as the records. I just won't do it.
He's going to go into the Hall of Fame one day, and
I don't know. He probably will.
Eventually, when a lot of these guys, when they either get real old or they die.
him and Clemens almost made it the last 2 times. They just fell a little short. So yeah, Jeff, you're right. Veteran committees will get him in.
They're going to get him in simply because sooner or later, if they don't put him in through the regular way or veterans committee or whatever, there's going to be an outrage when people start to realize, like, wait a minute, this guy is a black player, holds these records, and he's not in the Hall of Fame. How is that?
Yeah. Can't argue with you. The woke culture is going to get it. But yeah, I'm rooting for Judge.
That's the shame of it. That's the shame.
I'm rooting for Judge to get there. I think either I'd be surprised. I'm going to be surprised if Judge is back next year as a Yankee. I don't think the Yankees want to give him the money that he wants, and I wouldn't do it. I would not give him a 10-year deal. But again, as far as the chase, I think it's a lot of fun. The guy's a great player, and I hope he gets 65. I hope he gets to 65, 66 homers. I would love to see it.
Why stop there? To me, the home run is a Yankee record. I feel as though it's a record that I would love to see held by a Yankee long term. You know, when I used to hear home runs, the first words names I think of is Babe Ruth, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, Lou Gehrig. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The home run has always been synonymous with the New York Yankees. I would love to see a Yankee player have it. Yes, exactly. The Bronx Bombers, the 27 Murderers Row. I would love to see a Yankee hold that record again. So I honestly hope that it's Aaron Judge gets it and holds it for a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see 73 with 30-something games left. He would need 22 homers just to tie it. That would be an outstanding month. I mean, you know, an outstanding month.
He's at 53 already, right?
He's at 51. So he needs 22 homers just to tie in 30 games. He's averaging a homer every 2 games, so he would need, 40-something games. He doesn't have it.
But they are home run hitters, are streak hitters.
Yeah, again, but a good month would be 14 or 15. Yeah. So that would be, he would get into the 60s. To get to the 70s, he would need to be all world. Listen, I think it would be a huge step, Jeff. If he got to 70 with a week left, it would be baseball would be on it.
The whole entire world would be watching.
100%.
You want to know something? If he gets that far with that much time left, they may walk him every fucking
100%. Yeah, it could possibly be. I honestly think though. I think Major League Baseball teams
doesn't want it.
I think they
see him. No, I don't want to see them walk him.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a lot of teams would actually go out there. Actually, I think they would hope he would get the record so that way Barry Bonds is tainted would be off the record. So I think they actually would want it. And 2, I think it's a challenge. You as a team, you don't want to walk the guy. You want to challenge him, and if he beats you at that point. Unless it's a meaningful game for you and your team, where you can't lose the game. You have to challenge him and give him the opportunity to break the record. It would be a miracle. But listen to me, like you said, Jeff, the last week of the season, if he was close, 4, 5, 6 homers off with a week or so to play, boy, everybody's tuning in every game. Absolutely.
Yeah, I hear that.
That would be a lot of fun.
All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Nice talking to you. Jeff, take care. Tommy, I'll see you over the weekend.
I'll see you a couple times now. I'll see you a couple times. Thanks. I appreciate you staying on this long, Pops. Appreciate it.
Bye.
So that's my dad. That was a long time with Pops. He was on till 8 o'clock with us. So I almost have to give him co-host status.
Co-host status for the night.
Yeah. Hard Rock and Sports. Jeff, Tom, and Johnny Collins taking a poop someplace. So nice
please. I'm on deck.
You ready to take the Browns to the Super Bowl?
Oh, man. They may take the field right here.
John and Tom hanging out here on Thursday night, September the 1st. We're creeping up on, pretty sure we'll be talking Thanksgiving, guys. You know me and Jeff. We love the Thanksgiving talk. That is like we're in the middle of football. Baseball just ended. We're getting ready for all the big shows. We're ready for Charlie Brown. We're getting ready for all the good stuff. But
I gotta be honest with you. I almost watched Charlie Brown Halloween.
Did you really?
The other day, yeah. I bought my wife a little fall decor for her office at work.
Really nice.
Yeah, this little truck that said something about fall on the side of it, so I got it at. And I'm ready. I'm tired of the heat and everything.
Yeah,
else.
Me too.
The only thing I can say
is
I noticed the weather is changing.
Yes.
Okay? Because when the sun is out, it could be 90 degrees.
But that early morning, is a little on the chilly side.
once the sun starts going down, it's a little chilly. It's a little breezy at times. It isn't 96 degrees all night long.
Correct. Yes.
Not like it was in the middle of the summertime.
I walk out the door now. It's 5:15, 5:20, and it's almost like, should I go back in for a sweatshirt? Nah, it's going to warm up by the time I get to the job. And you get there, and the sun's starting to poke out, and you're starting to, it's getting into the 70s and all that. But you're right. You're not going outside at 10 o'clock, and it's 85, 88, 90 degrees.
No,
thank God. So we are noticing it, and again, it's getting darker a little earlier. It's not quite the same out there, but to me, this is where it gets to be fun. We're a week away from football, Jeff. A week away from the first game of the year. Our teams, I saw a couple things today that interest me. First off, I saw Joe Douglas came out and said this might be the most talented Jets team he's seen. Now, again,
glad you mentioned that. Did you know that 7 ex-New York Jets were picked up by other teams?
I did not know that.
Practice squad, the most in the league.
Okay.
So that just goes to show you the depth that was on the Jets team.
Mm-hmm.
And they took 7 players that were on those teams and got picked up by other teams throughout the NFL. Rather impressive, if you ask me.
Yeah, listen, no doubt. I think that I think the Jets have done some. I think they had the best offseason of anybody out there. I thought their free agent period was good. I thought their draft was great. The fact that they picked up 3 players that could possibly make immediate impact for the season is great. Where that plays them, I don't know. I think there's still some questions there, but yeah, I think this is a significantly more talented Jet team than we've seen on paper. Now again, how does it mesh? How does this coaching staff get the best out of them? And what if it's the most talented team we've ever seen and they win 3 games? What do we look at it? How do we look at it from there?
I don't think that this team is going to win 3 games, Tom. Listen. I threw something out there earlier today, and
Helen Keller could have.
All of a sudden, Helen Keller. But listen, it's gonna happen, and when the day it happens,
listen, I don't doubt that for the fact that that with the way the Jets are approaching their off seasons and making the moves that they make. I don't disagree that the Jets are there. I think there's a couple of key pieces that I'm not sure. Again, a lot of this is going to be Zach Wilson. Does Zach Wilson take another step forward? From the end of last year. I mean, his early part of his season last year was horrendous. And then when he came back from the injury, he was much better. Still not great.
Everybody says that, but I'm going to be real and say it for what it was. The guy went 5 games without throwing a fucking interception.
Mm-hmm.
Go back and look at those records, okay, at those 5 games, and he was like 7 for 12 for 7 yards.
I got you. Yes,
he was throwing.
They managed him. Yes.
This was a guy. There were players that have that kind of stats in a quarter.
Yes,
what he was doing in a game. Okay.
Listen, to be honest with you, he wasn't the best quarterback on the team last year. I'm not putting a lot on Mike White and his couple of games and the fall apart from there. But he wasn't very good early. He was better when he came back. But you're right. They managed him. They didn't put him out there throwing the ball 30 times a game.
No matter who the Jet quarterback has been since Joe Namath, that's what they've been doing. When Eric Mangini was handed Brett Favre,
right?
Okay, I'll say it till the day that I die. Mm-hmm. They got the ball. I remember that game. He should have turned around and said, Brett Favre, listen, here's the play. 3 Hail Marys. I don't care if you're on the 1-yard line. 3 Hail Marys. We're a different team. We have a different identity. We have a fucking bona fide NFL quarterback. Yeah. Throw the ball as far as you can.
Yeah.
Okay. You just tell the receiver where to be and put the ball there. That's it. And first 3 plays, let the NFL go on notice that you have a real quarterback. And they never did it. When Mark Sanchez came around, they put baby gloves on him and handled him with fucking kid gloves.
Oh yeah.
Geno Smith just I don't know. I blame more Rex Ryan than Geno Smith, but Geno Smith is going to prove that right or wrong this couple days. And now you got Zach Wilson, and everybody else in between these guys.
Yeah.
They just didn't know what the fuck they were doing with a quarterback. They just didn't.
Yeah. I got you. Listen, and again, I think this is a big season. I think it's a big season for not only Zach Wilson but the Jets coaching staff. If this coaching staff can't get better, again, I don't want to look at it from just a strictly how many games you win thing. I look at it from how well you play. You're going to be games, Jeff, where I'll give you Giant games last year. There were 2 or 3 Giant games last year. They were a better team. They took it down to the last drive, and then they let the other team just walk down the field, score, and they lose the game. There was significant improvement, but didn't equal wins. You could still look at the team and say, this is a better team. They just have to learn to win. They have to make a couple better plays. They need a couple spots to fill. I think you can look at a team and know they're better, but it doesn't necessarily equate to wins, more wins.
Well, listen, to a certain extent, because right now, if the Jets come out of the gate, okay, four games against the AFC North, and let's just say that they go 1-3 or 2-2,
yeah,
okay, could be a very deceiving record either
100%,
way,
sure.
Okay, even if they were to go 3-1, it could be deceiving, but let's stick with the first 2.
Okay.
They could end up losing games in the final drive, the final minute, the final quarter, or they could have got blown out in the 2 games, 3 games that they lose. So what happens is if they go to the first game and they lose the first game 45-3, then the second game they come out and they win 28-17, but they played a complete game. Mm-hmm. You can say, all right, they lost one, they won one. Now the next game comes, they lose another one, but this one they lose by 10 points, but they played a more complete game again.
Right.
They only gave up 139 yards. It just so happens the guy, tipped the ball and ran it in for an interception.
You have a punt return for a touchdown.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay? Then they win another one, but this time they win 21-24 or 24-21. But you could see that, they were clicking on all cylinders. Zach Wilson was throwing the ball. Joe Flacco, whoever the quarterback is at the time, just connecting receiver, bang, 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 bang. Mm-hmm. Tight fucking passes all over the place. But then once again, they got a little bit better. So now by the end of the season, they may be 8-9, but they played more like a 12-5 club.
Agreed. I couldn't agree with you more. I agree.
I think that it isn't going to be that quick.
No.
Of a turnaround for them.
No.
It may be progressive throughout the year.
I agree.
But I think that they have some players. I think it's Sauce Gardner. I haven't heard. I mean, he's going to be a starter, but you just hear like, I don't know.
Well, again, until you watch him out there against the other team's best, is he going to be the guy who plays the other team's best player? How does he do? Does he stick his head in there and make tackles? There's a lot to be looked at. He's going to start. The kid's a number 1 pick. Most people think he's absolutely the best. He was the best corner in the draft. No problem. Let him go out there and play and see how he does. If he goes out there and he shows it, all for it. I think he's going to be a good player. I just think the Jets still have a lot of question marks on that team. So a little bit at linebacker, a little bit in the secondary, the receiving core a little bit. Obviously, a quarterback, tight end. There's still some, and the offensive line is still a question mark in my book.
For the Jets?
Yeah, I think it's better, but
definitely better.
Well, don't forget your best offensive lineman going into camp was Font playing left tackle. Now he moves over to right tackle, and Dwayne Brown, who's a savvy 37-year-old vet, is now your left tackle. Theoretically, you should be a better team, but we'll see how that plays out. I like
think he's happy to be back at the right side anyway.
Oh, you know what, Jeff? That's his natural position. I think there's a good chance that offensive line is better. Vera Tucker's a good player. I think that's a much better. I think that's a good team. But don't forget, they didn't really practice together very much. Dwayne Brown came in late. Font moved over to right tackle late in camp. Who knows? Maybe there's a little bit of growing pains. But again, that could wind up being a strength. Again, a lot of it's going to depend on how well they run the football, and Zach Wilson, when he comes back, is he better than last year? Simple.
With all of these guys getting hurt early, Zach Wilson, non-contact injury and shit.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Tom, you know what? I don't think that half the NFL fielded their starters for most of, if any of them.
Oh,
really
my
did.
God. I can guarantee you, I bet you, I would say that if you took every team starters, I bet you 10% of the starters played significant time in the preseason. I mean, Aaron Rodgers never didn't play at all. Tom Brady, I think, played sparingly in Game 3. I mean, so many. Even the Giants, Daniel Jones in the offense played sparingly. He didn't play at all the last game. Saquon Barkley had 8 touches in the entire 3 preseason games. I agree with you, Jeff. The preseason is going to turn into nothing more than an audition for late round draft picks and undrafted free agents.
Yeah,
that's where it's going.
Yeah, that's what it is now. That's what it is now.
And you're good. It's going to turn into, and what it has turned into, and we've talked about it in the past. The first 4 games of the regular season is going to basically be training camp.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up and you said that, because I was just going to say the same thing. And maybe that's the push why now they're for 17 games. And who knows if they'll ever push to 18 games.
It'll be
because they don't have the preseason. It takes 4 weeks or so for these guys to get back into shape.
Oh, 100%.
Playing, you know,
just
barring injury.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're losing 4 games. So now it's a best of 13.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I think what you're going to see is it's going to go down to 2 preseason games, 18 regular season games. The 2 preseason games are just going to basically be your number 3 through 7 draft pick and all your free agents playing 99% of the time. And your starters will play a couple of minutes of a couple of games. And the rest of it's just going to be, these guys trying to make the team. And they're going to use the first 3-4 games of the regular season, win them, try to win as much as you can, but you're going to use those to get your team really prepared for basically the season.
If these guys, all of these players, keep getting hurt, okay, the way that they have been, all right, you're gonna see teams that they're not going to be able to have enough quarterbacks on their team. That's one thing.
Yep.
Okay, they're not going to want to start any of their starters, and then when their starters do go out there, they're going to be facing soft tissue injuries and everything because
100%.
They're not ready to go.
100%. Yeah, 100. Jeff, 150% on that one, because I think that's part of it is that you go through used to go through training camp, used to go through the preseason, mini camps, and used to bang, and you get your body would get used to that and build up. Let's call it a resistance to it, And now you don't do that. So by the time you get to the regular season, your body's not in football shape. You haven't had any contact. You don't hit in practice anymore. You don't hit in preseason. So you get out there in the beginning and you're trying to play.
The preseason, they hit in preseason. Look at what happened to Tyrod Taylor.
No, but I'm talking about in camp. I mean, and
amongst your own team, you're saying is
and it used to be. Jeff, don't forget, back in the 70s, 80s, even to the 90s, you had double practices where you would, light practice in the morning and you were hitting almost every day in the afternoon. You were scrimmaging once a week. Now these guys don't.
And this is why you also had things called dynasties too in the 90s. 100%. Why you had teams that would go fucking 12-4, 13-3 year after year after year, and now it's a rotation in the league. I think if anything, they should just outlaw hitting in the what do you call it, the preseason games, and make them like an NFL Pro Bowl.
Jeff, I don't think that's far away. I honestly don't believe that that's far away. I think teams, listen, and I get it. You don't want to have your better players out for the season in a practice or in a meaningless game, and I get that. But I also think you're hurting the product by not getting out there and bumping and grinding and playing the game. It's almost an illusion. Listen, I thought Daniel Jones played really good football in the little bit of time he played. I didn't see the Jet practice. Supposedly in the middle of the Jet practice, he was 14 or 16. It was starters against starters. He played really well. I watched the 2 preseason games. The second time he played, he played really, really well. He's 15 or 17, 100 and something yards, a couple of great drives. But was it really for real? Because you're not out there facing you're not facing the best other side. Nobody's really playing it super hard because nobody wants to get hurt. So it's a little bit of a am I really seeing the truth? We'll find out. But I think they're doing themselves a disservice. And I get it. You're paying these guys, especially your quarterbacks, you're paying them $50 million, $40 million a year. The last thing you want to do is have the guy get hurt in a meaningless game of practice. But at some point, I think the product is getting hurt. And I think you're almost not helping the players get ready for the season by not letting them have a little more in the way of contact and develop that kind of, I don't know, the immunity to bumps and the bruises. That's my opinion.
Yeah, well, listen, you got to take the bumps and the bruises without a doubt. Yeah. You know, that's what makes these guys get toughened up.
100%.
But you know what? Evidently, the bumps and bruises. Well, actually, let me back up a little further. Evidently, these guys are not as tough as you think it is.
No, they're not,
because they're running down the thing. I've heard of more non-contact knee injuries.
Oh, yes.
Ever since Darrelle Revis ripped his knee apart.
Oh, remember Cromartie's?
Oh, I remember. I don't remember Cromartie.
Yeah, Cromartie was the same thing. Was running all of a sudden on an interception, made a pick, started running, and just blew out his leg and actually fumbled the football without being contacted. You know, same thing, same exact thing.
Well, listen, I'm sure if your knee gets blown out, the last thing you're worried about is holding on to the football.
I agree with you, but your point is well taken. That I don't know what it is. Maybe it just seems that way. I don't remember so many soft tissue non-contact injuries back in the day as I do today.
No.
You know, I don't know what to attribute that for. You know, I was talking to someone else about it.
Frank Catalano.
What's up, buddy? Yeah, Frankie, here's what I noticed. I mean, I get it. I don't know if they moved his money around. I did see that, something that Jeff and I were just going to talk about. So we'll get to it now. That's it's an odd signing for me. It is team friendly from what I saw. I'm only going to attribute it to Jeff to the fact that maybe they help move some money around so they can sign a couple of players. That's the best I can look at it.
Well, of course. Well, why else would they do it that way? You know, I mean, he has to, you're leaving Seattle and you're going over to a team that wasn't much better than Seattle last year. So you want them to take the right step, well, first of all, Frank, how are you feeling? You still dealing with your issues or are you home yet? What? And is this Russell Wilson deal adding to your issues? How's that?
So the deal is worth, this is amazing to me. The deal is reported worth $245 million with $165 million guaranteed.
It's insane.
Wow. That's for a guy. How old is Russell Wilson? He's got to be 30-something years old. No,
33, I think, 33, 34, something like that.
That's so announcing 5-year contract extension through 2028. So,
good.
Wow. That's a lot of money for a guy who's going to be nearly 40 years old when this thing is over with. But, Jeff, that is the
Tom, this is while you're thinking of getting your thought together. This is the problem with having guys like Drew Brees and Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers playing at a high level so late into their career.
Yeah, you're right.
People are already going to be like, well, we got Russell Wilson, might as well sign him for 5 or 6 years and make it a team-friendly deal. Yeah, but you're so committed. How many millions guaranteed? Millions of dollars. The guy didn't even take a snap yet for this team.
And
a meaningful snap, I should say.
And I'm not looking to get into Frank's problems, but Russell Wilson hasn't been a great quarterback in a couple of years, in a few years. And I've always thought he was
doing a lot better in Denver than he was.
Yeah, maybe, but does Denver have a receiver that's better than DK Metcalf?
No, but I think the team overall
is better. And again, I think if you're and I think where you're right and where Frankie's going to tell me I'm wrong, and you're both going to be right, is they are not going to rely on Russell Wilson alone to win games. He's going to get the chance to play big spots, manage the team, and make everybody around him better because of his experience and his skills. And if he's allowed to just be part of the situation and not be able to carry everything, I think that's where his value comes from.
Listen, I think that because they're up in Denver, that he's going to get a little bit more, and he's going to be the best quarterback they've had since Peyton Manning and John Elway, without a doubt.
Yeah, that's easy.
But that thin air up there is going to help him out too.
I don't know. I can't speculate into that. But I just think if you build a good team around the guy, I think you're doing yourself a justice. And yeah, listen, maybe the guy's looking to play another 5 years. I tell you the truth, I didn't expect Russell Wilson to stay around that long. To be honest with you, he seems to have other thoughts. His wife's a big singer. I assumed he was going to get into maybe the record business. But again, he's still young enough. He's still healthy enough, I guess. And listen, Denver, they've gone from Brock Osweiler, Drew Lock. They've had all sorts of Trevor Siemian. This is a team that's had Paxton Lynch. This is a severe upgrade for them with Russell Wilson, Jeff.
Oh, without a doubt. Even when they had Peyton Manning, he wasn't on top of his game.
The last year or so. I mean, that first year he was incredible. The Super Bowl year he was horrendous. You and I could have did a better job. He lost his job halfway through, three-quarters through the season to Brock Osweiler because he was so bad.
Well, did they lose it? Did he lose his job, or did they just bench him so that he could spare him for the season? You know what I mean?
You know what, Jeff? That's a great point. I don't know the answer to that. I wasn't in their locker room. But could you have 2 years before that? Could you have ever seen Peyton Manning taking a break for the season? To get ready for the playoffs. So I don't know. He wasn't the same guy that last season. It was just we talk about all the time with Brady. When is that time where all of a sudden it goes off the cliff? That's what happened to Peyton. 1 minute he was still the best quarterback in the league, and the next minute, he's fighting for a job with Brock Osweiler and Trevor.
I'll tell you right now, as far as Brady goes, it's this year. This is it.
I don't know.
If that article was right today,
yeah,
that him and his wife are arguing and fighting, one or two things are going to happen. Either he's not going to care what she says and just let her go, and he'll do what he wants to do, or I would be shocked, and I wouldn't be shocked if this happens, but I would be shocked if it doesn't happen. If he finishes the season, I got a feeling that if he starts off bad, that he's gonna fucking jump ship.
Jeff, it's a great point, and one I'm going to back you up on, because this could be the reason that he calls it a career. Now, if it's true, and the wife's and again, I think she's overrated too. I got to be honest with you. I think she's
Giselle.
Yeah, I think she's a bit overrated, to be honest.
I didn't.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan, but I just saw it come up to Trevor May, the former Jet safety now with the Marcus May, arrested today in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana for aggravated assault with a firearm. May is accused of pointing a firearm at another vehicle that was occupied by several juvenile females, according to Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Office.
Yeah, because we all know how much of a menace a carload of juvenile females is.
Wow.
Let me ask you, which gun did he point? Did he point his 44 or his chocolate Magnum?
I'm not sure. Didn't say. That's just. Well, let's get back to Brady. We all know that the reason he retired was because the wife and maybe the kids were pushing him to call it a career, stay home, be part of the family, and then he came back. Now, I assumed that he must have went to them and said, "Listen, one more year. Let me go back and finish it off the right way and call it a day." Maybe they didn't. Maybe he went back and she didn't want it. They didn't want it, whatever. And that's they're hinting that this is the reason why he took the 2 weeks off in the middle of everything. I find it odd. Now, Jeff, I agree with you. There's a chance, maybe if things don't go off right, maybe he gets hurt, or maybe he just walks away to save his family. I don't know. I would think Brady and all that. I think he would hang in there and he'd take the loss in the wife. I got to be honest with you.
Listen. I don't know.
Good question.
I don't know about that if he takes the loss of a wife and a family, but I will say this much: I bet you, where if he starts the season and he goes through the first 3 or 4 weeks of the season and he's not playing at a level that he wants,
that's a different point.
Then I think that he just turns around and says it's time for me to walk away. As far as him coming back to the league, and coming back, if his wife said no, and he came back anyway, I don't know if I would find that hard to believe. That, you know what I mean? I would find that I don't know if that's what
I don't. Yeah, that's a great question.
I got a feeling that he turned around and said, "Listen, he has such a success rate with winning and being taking his team so far and deep into the playoffs that if he turns around and says, "Listen, I got to do this. I have to do this because I can't walk out like what happened last year. I need one more try." And you have to understand, because maybe the fight between him and his wife, that could be bullshit too. You don't know.
Of course. But here's the thing. Here's one thing I don't understand, and I'm with you. Now, let me ask you the question. All right, let's defend Tom Brady a little bit. So you're Tom Brady, your wife's Gisele Bundchen, you got a couple of kids, you play football, basically 6 months, 5 months a year, where for the most part you're home all week long, and you leave town on a road trip for 2 nights. You fly in Friday, you finish your game on Sunday, and you fly home. I don't get the problem with, hey, you only get to play football for so many years. You're going to be done, at 44. For Tom Brady, he hung in there forever. You got the rest of your life to be dad, husband, full time. Why not take advantage? Why not take advantage of every minute that you're playing well and doing something? If not, he's going to go work for Fox and do the same exact thing, basically. So I don't understand, if he is getting pressure to quit, why his wife would be pressuring him to be done playing football when he's still playing at a high level. You're home most of the time. It ain't like baseball where you're on the road for 2 weeks at a time. The guy's basically out of town every other week or two for 2 days.
Well, you know what I think it comes down to this, Tom. I think you got to factor in the injuries, the thought of the injury.
Yeah,
okay, you played for how many years? You only had one major injury, and that was how many years ago? 20 years ago. So you're kind of relatively unscathed from that. So you got that thought. Okay, everything that you're saying about playing and having the ability to play and the want to play, because you don't have much time in the league, this, that, and the other thing. Well, however old his kids are, he wasn't there for a lot of that stuff.
I understand that, but Jeff,
so
you and I work for a living. We do the same thing. I missed out a lot of stuff for my kids because I had to go to work every day. That's not abnormal.
Well, listen, missing out on their first steps, or the first time they took a shit in the fucking water potty or something, that's one thing. But when you're talking about, Christmas plays and this, that, and the other thing, because you're going to the Super Bowl and maybe birthdays and God knows what else, what other people deem important. Just because me and you maybe not deem it important, or other things are more important to us. You don't know what goes on in his household. And believe me, I'm not sticking up for him. But you know what? Just you take all of that, factor it all together. And not for nothing, she was the breadwinner. He wasn't making the major money.
No, you're right. Yeah, absolutely. She made much more than he did for a lot of years.
Turn around and say, this isn't somebody that has to go to work because they retired from their city job and now they're going to go work at Home Depot. Mm-hmm. He never has to lift a finger again. And it may just be, but first of all, we're all speculating. You don't know.
Yeah. No, again, I couldn't agree with you more.
I think that as it unfolds, if he's not playing at a high level, I'm telling you right now, I put money down on it. He walks away.
Listen, it's very possible. If he gets hurt early in the season, if he doesn't play well, he could say, screw it. Let me walk away and say, and have the peace at home. Or it could just be an excuse. I don't look at Tom Brady as a guy who's an excuse guy. To me, I believe he committed. He's going to finish the season. Short of a major injury, I think he finishes the season one way or the other. And I would hate to see, if they start off bad and he's not playing well, that he would walk away in the middle of that and abandon the team. I think that would really hurt his legacy, in my eyes.
Well, it's not so much. His legacy is never getting tainted. That is never, ever, ever going to happen.
No, again, for me though, like if Peyton had walked away that last season because he wasn't playing well, I would be bothered by that. You go out there, if you're the backup because the guy behind you is playing better, then you sit there, tote the clipboard, call it a career like Eli did. Eli got benched basically, and Daniel Jones finished the season. So
yes,
he could have easily walked away and said, I'm going to retire here, and not that he finished the season out and did things.
It's a different situation, though, Tom. Eli Manning still thought that he could play,
but so would Tom Brady at this point.
Not if Tom Brady says, you know what, I'm trying to throw the ball 50 yards. I was able to throw it 7.
Again, I would be. Listen, Tom Brady's Tom Brady. He's won tons of stuff. He's, to me, the best quarterback of my lifetime. I'd argue that point with anybody. But it would bother. It would bother me a lot if he walked away in the middle of the season because he wasn't playing well. You stick it out, you be part of the team, unless the team asks you to walk away. That's a different story.
Same thing happened.
Yeah.
To Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
He turned around. He didn't quit in the middle of the year, but all of a sudden one day he just came in and he was like,
But the season was over.
But I'm not throwing the ball like I once was able to. Okay, Drew Brees, who was held almost every offensive passing record. Okay, all of a sudden one day he couldn't throw the ball over the fucking guys' heads. So all of a sudden one day it's just going to happen.
No, I agree.
He's going to go throw the ball. He's going to be
100%. But unless the team asks you to leave, if 10 games into the season he can't throw the ball 15 yards, hey guys, I'll be on the bench. If you need me in a big spot, I'm there. If not, I'm gonna back up this guy and do the best I can. And you guys go out there and do what you're
hurting the team. If that is how that goes down, you're still hurting the team because you're holding up a roster spot.
I agree with you. But what I'm saying is, if the team comes to you and says, "Hey Tom, we love you. Can you retire? Because we need the spot, and you're not playing well," and and he says, "Yeah, no problem." But if they, if it's just, hey, he doesn't have enough to be the guy, but he's still got a little something to come off the bench in a big spot, and he says, no. If I'm not the starter, I'm going home. I got to tell you, that would bother me. That's all. But again, if the team came to him, Jeff, and said, "Hey guys, hey Tom, we need the spot,"
I don't think he's going to do it because the team benched him. If he was to do it, I think he's going to do it because he just says, "You know what? I can't play at a high level anymore.
That's possible.
I'm not going to play playing like I am. I'm hurting the team. I'm hurting myself.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm done. I'm retiring."
And
too many of these guys retire so close to the beginning of the season anyway. That's why they should really make some kind of thing in the within the league, in the CBA, that these guys, you're hurting your team so much by retiring certain players. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you were the third string fucking free safety, nobody gives a fuck if you retire, in the middle of the game. But some of these guys, they retire and God knows when, and they're fucking hurting their teams while doing so.
Yeah, no, listen, I'm with you. Wasn't there, who was the guy not too long ago retired right in the middle of a game, went into halftime and didn't come back? Fairly big name player.
I think he was on Buffalo.
I think you're right. He was one of the Buffalo Bills. Went in at halftime.
Buffalo Bills, or he was on the Colts, and he just went and he just kept going.
Yeah, just said, "I'm going to get something to drink out of the car. I'll be back."
Yeah, just got in the car and that was it. I don't remember his name.
I got to move the car. It's in the way over there. I'll be back in a little while.
Yeah, I got to go pre-start it, whatever. And he just never came back.
Yeah, it's completely a Hard Rock Sports. Jeff and Tom talking here on a Thursday night. Can't believe we're into September, but thanks for hanging in with us. We're having a good time. Talking a lot of baseball tonight. We did a lot of football. We still got some more to do. And I hope you guys are going to have I can't believe it's Labor Day weekend. You know what I miss about Labor Day weekend? This is sad to say. I have to tell you, this might be the saddest thing ever to say, but I miss the Jerry Lewis Telethon. I watched it every year. It's sad because of what it's for, but the Jerry Lewis Telethon was like a huge tradition in my family and for me up until they stopped doing it. And, first off, at the end was great because you want to see how big Jerry's head was when he came out every year. Because his head got bigger and bigger every year.
Well, let me ask you something. How much cocaine did Jerry Lewis do to stay awake for all that time?
I have to tell you, the 70s, early 80s telethons were classics. I mean, you'd have Jerry there, middle of the night, starting to curse and just be miserable.
Because the cocaine was wearing off.
Yeah, and then he'd get replaced, and they go to the New York feed with like Norm Crosby and Tony Orlando. And just so many people showed up, all these different celebrities, and it was a thing to watch. I mean, at the end, it got a little, and then they tried to do it without Jerry. They were doing it for an hour. I mean, I remember as a kid, 20-something hours, and then they would extend it an extra hour to try to break the records. And it was a play. I understand it's a terrible thing. And I'll just say this, all the money they raised, they never fixed it. They never came up with a solution of any sort. I got a question. Where'd the money go? What happened to the money?
Well, somebody had to pay for Jerry's cocaine, you know.
Guys, were you a big? As a kid, did you ever kind of?
I hated it.
Did you really?
I
Why?
hated it. Yeah, because it was. I remember my grandmother and grandfather watching it, like going there for
Sure.
on a Sunday and
Yeah.
seeing it on a Sunday, and all of a sudden be like, "What's this?" Because there might have been something on that we would watch that was on channel. It was on Channel 9.
Channel 9 every year,
So
absolutely.
there was maybe something on Channel 9 that we wanted to watch or we could have watched. Because on Sunday, I remember Sunday TV was like the absolute fucking worst.
Yeah, I mean,
there was nothing on after Wonderama. There was nothing on.
Well,
so when you
well,
went to other
I beg
people's
to differ.
houses,
You did have Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, and then you had
that was at
Disney.
night.
Yeah,
That was at night. Yeah, but
during the day, yes, absolutely.
during the day, nothing.
Baseball,
Nothing.
you're lucky if the Yankees, the Mets were usually on Channel 9, so you're lucky if the Met game was on.
You know, and my old man was not a baseball guy.
Right.
Like he knew baseball, but he did not watch baseball or sports. Yeah. And it was just a shame because there was nothing on. So I also signaled Labor Day. I hate Labor Day because it was the signaling of the school year starting.
Absolutely, yeah.
So when you saw Jerry Lewis telethon on, you're like, oh, it's Labor Day weekend.
Here we go.
You're going to school.
Yep.
Usually there was a hurricane around this time of the year that you would have to
true.
worry about, which was
That's
just
true.
basically a big rainstorm.
Yeah.
And remember, they would always talk about the hurricane. They're like, oh, my God, the house is going to blow away. And just, stuff.
Yeah.
And it was just, everything was changing. It was getting light out. Getting light out, dark out earlier,
Yeah.
which I did like.
Yeah.
But you were going to school, so that means you wouldn't see everybody until Saturday.
Yeah.
And you had to hope that your mother and father weren't like, "Oh, we're going to the stores. Let's go." Like, oh, come on, I don't want to go to the stores.
I would say we were lucky as kids, as we got older into our teens, we would hang out after school a lot. Playing football on your block or just hanging out or whatever.
Oh yeah.
But that was later on in the. Oh yes, and the Bowery Boys, absolutely. Abbott Costello movies on a Sunday morning was great. But Jeff's right. The afternoons, very, very sketchy on what was on TV back in the 70s and early 80s.
When you were off on Saturday, and Frank, I don't know how old you are, Frank, but I'm
a little younger. He's a little younger than us.
A little younger than us. So you experienced some of this. Saturday mornings was cartoons up the ass.
Yes. Best.
And then by the time the cartoons were over, your mother and father were pushing you. Come on, let's go get changed. We got to go here. We got to go there. So you would go out for a little while with your parents. Sundays, there was no, lounging around because you had to get up. At least in my house, you had to get up, be dressed by a certain time because then you had to go to church. Then after church, we had to go to grandma's house.
Yep.
Then we go to the other grandma's house. Okay, and we were never able. 55. So you're pretty much the same age.
Okay, I thought Frank was a little younger than us, but okay.
There were no toys at grandma's house.
Oh, yeah.
And we weren't able to bring toys to grandma's house.
Okay.
So we didn't have anything to do. So we used to have to sit there. You know what I used to do at my one grandmother's house, my father's mother?
Okay.
She had a Bible.
Really?
A Bible. It was about this thick. It was the biggest Bible I ever seen in my life. And there was color pictures in the Bible. And definitely not color pictures that would, from time period correct. Just color pictures. So I used to sit there and look at the colored pictures. And I remember asking my grandfather, who had died several years prior, and my grandmother had a friend. A friend.
Friend quotes? Okay.
Yeah, a friend that came over.
Uh-huh.
I remember asking her friend about this and, about the different things. And it would look at, because it was the Station of the Cross, and there would be some gore in the Bible and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And that was it. That was all we used to do. And I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I got to get out of here. We'd stay there. Yes. The aunts had plastic couches.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
And we would be there till we knew that when we left there, we were going to the deli to get food, for school tomorrow. And then you were going home, go upstairs, put your pajamas on, and then you could watch Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom and Disney.
Yep. And then it was bedtime.
Yeah. And I remember living on Ormond Place, watching those shows in the living room downstairs, in my old living room. And then as soon as it was done, my mother was not one to be like, okay, guys, come on, let's go. My mother was like, get upstairs now. And you had to get upstairs now.
Oh, yeah. And don't come down. And don't come down.
And I remember the window being open and looking at U-Haul, which was a Gulf gas station at the time.
Wow. I don't remember that. Wow.
I knew. and looking at it, and then sometimes I lay there. I was like, "What happens if it blows up? What happens if it blows up?" Okay, so that was my childhood.
Wow.
Started all because of the Jerry Lewis telethon, and
Wow.
Sundays going to visit people, and I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, listen, I had the same thing as a kid up until let's say 82, 83, maybe 84. My Sundays was the same. Get up in the morning, probably go to church, come home, go to my grandmother's for 12 o'clock, 11:30. My mother's mother. Stay there for dinner, watch football, baseball, whatever. Summer times were great. We'd be there all night with my cousins, going swimming or playing ball, and then the winter times weren't so great. And then you go home, and in the winter time it was mutual. Get ready for school and watch Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom, Disney, and then off to bed. So I had the same thing, and then it was a little later on. I got a little bit better, but pretty much same as you. Pretty much the same as you.
What was even worse when you mentioned cousins, right?
Yep.
Did you ever see when you had a cousin that might have been a year or two older than you, which was kind of like,
yes,
are we cool? Or are we hanging out? What are we doing here? And you're playing, like maybe you played sports with him, but he was a little bit bigger than you. So when you played football, he'd push you down and shit. And then you didn't see him. Well, it just so happens when some of your cousins are bigger, they're bigger and stronger than you. It happens.
Yeah.
And then you didn't see him for a while, and then all of a sudden one day you seen him, and it happened. He's got a stash.
Yes. I mean,
now it would be like knuckle hair that we have, but it's like, holy shit, Joey's got a mustache. What the fuck? Joey's like a man. And then when he would see him, be like, "Hey, what's up there, cuz?" Like, "Whoa, what the?"
The voice changed and all that. Yeah.
And then when he pushed you, he just had a little extra zing to it.
Yeah, I had older cousins, second, third cousins who were much older than me, 10 years or better. I had a couple of cousins who were my age, a little older than me, a couple years older. And I was football, and he was, let's pick out duvet covers.
What?
He was, how can I say this? My one older cousin who was around my age, I would say, was more interested in a home decor than playing football or baseball or pushing me around, I would say.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Is he still into decor?
No, he passed away, unfortunately, a couple of years back. But a great guy, absolutely great guy. But when we were kids, was a bit.
Frank, Tommy has a cousin that stayed the same size. That was Dom. When he was about 6. The half man. But listen, it's all great. And again, the memory, I think this is a good point. The memories around this time of year for me are so vivid. Labor Day weekend, spending it in a couple of them in Brooklyn with my cousins, and staying in the house. All my cousins were running out in the street, and I stayed in the house to watch the Jerry Lewis telethon on Sunday night, or waking up on Monday morning and having, they lived above a bakery, and having fresh, hot Italian bread. The bakery would leave them upstairs. And yeah, exactly, Frank. Yeah, listen. Sorry. There's somebody saying the same thing about you right now.
Oh, 100%.
You wanted to watch and see how much money fucking Jerry raised. What are you kidding me?
I loved every second of Jerry Lewis telethon. I was like, listen, you can say, I'm all
I guess you used to watch the roasts then too.
Remember I still do. They're
classics now, so it's a different story.
As a kid, you know me. You know me 40 years. I loved being outside playing ball. I loved all that stuff. But when I was a kid, my parents were very strict, and I didn't go out a lot at night. Especially pre-teenage years. 5 o'clock was dinner, and then I was in for the night, regardless if it was summer, winter. It didn't matter. We weren't allowed out into the night. That just wasn't my parents. So what did you have? You didn't have video games. There wasn't a lot of things to do. So you watched TV, and the big things on TV were Dean Martin roasts and Jerry Lewis telethon, stuff like that was huge for me. They were different than watching the same repeats of these shows that we're on.
What about Bob Hope?
Loved Bob Hope classics. Oh my God!
When he was on Bob Hope, when he came on with his variety specials.
Absolutely. See, I loved all of those kind of specials. The Dean Martin was. I loved all of that stuff. I thought that was great stuff. Bob Hope, Dean Martin roasts. That stuff I could watch, and I still do to this day. Every once in a while, my wife goes, let's put on one of the roasts, and we'll go find one of them that we probably seen 100 times, and we'll watch it. I truly enjoy that stuff, and I always will. And it does remind me, Frankie, of when I was a kid. I think that's why I enjoy it. I remember sitting there with my grandmother when I slept over there, or my parents, and watched that stuff. It just reminds me of when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know, and
childhood sucked. It sucked because most of the childhood sucked because most of these people did not have air conditioning.
Yes, never.
So you'd have 15 people in a living room with the plastic on the furniture. That it was like a slip and slide.
Oh my God! But I'll tell you what. As a kid, when I lived on Bay Street, I don't know if you remember that house because I think we started hanging out after I moved there. After I moved from there to Highland Boulevard.
Yes.
Okay. I remember waking up on a beautiful day, and the window would be open right above my bed, and I'd have to draw down shades. Remember the old draw down shades?
Read what he just wrote.
Because they love to be a good song.
Holy shit. They tortured him. They made him look at bras in the Sears catalog. He wanted to listen to Connie Francis. What the fuck kind of fiend was that? Holy shit.
Oh, that's too funny. Hard Rock and Sports, we're just doing some nostalgia right now, having some fun. Labor Day weekend's right upon us. Lots of college football this week, and I'm looking forward to Saturday. Just sitting in the house watching college football all day. I will be.
It started already, didn't it?
Well, last weekend was a few games. Yeah, and last week Nebraska lost to Northwestern in Dublin, Ireland. I have DVR'd the game. I haven't watched. In fact, tonight after the show, I'm going to go into my spare room and I'm going to watch the game. Even though Nebraska lost, I want to watch the game. But yeah, this weekend's,
You're off tomorrow?
I am off tomorrow. I took the last two. I took off last Friday, and I'm taking off tomorrow. I don't know what my wife and I are going to do. She wants to go do something, and she's got to work all weekend. Hopefully, Jeff and I will be doing a little bit of practice for the big fantasy draft.
We definitely got to do a practice.
Yep, we're going to do a little practice for the fantasy draft, the big fantasy draft, which Frankie will be involved in Monday night. So I'm looking forward to dominating the league, Jeff and I.
Don't listen. That's all we have to say. Don't give him any. Don't tip him off to anything.
I will not.
He is the enemy at this point in time. Too.
Frankie will be the enemy as of Monday night. So looking forward to that. But yeah, I'm. This is a nice. I'm a big fan, and again, I think as I've gotten older, I love the fall. If I could probably live year round in one thing, it would probably be the fall because the weather is great. You know, it's sweatshirt, maybe light jacket. You can still wear some shorts. I'm big on the shorts as long as I can. And I just love the way the way things look with the leaves changing and all that stuff. So it's that weekend. Things kind of change over, even though the summer doesn't officially end for a few more weeks. I think we'll be putting the pin in the summer after this weekend, talking a lot of football, a lot of baseball, and getting ready for the holidays because we love the holidays around here.
I want to see if yes, I just want to make sure that I have it.
Go ahead.
If you remember this. Reminds me of the fall. You're not going to be able to see it, but see if you remember what this is.
Go ahead.
Can you hear that?
Yeah. What is that?
Try to guess.
I don't know, Jeff. I can't see it. It's a little. What is it?
Animal House.
Oh, one of the classics.
It's one of the opening scenes.
Oh, I got you from the fall. Yes.
Yeah, the fall where they're like this scene here. You look in the background of Dean Wormer, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yes.
And the trees got brown leaves and stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, that is one of the most underrated movies of all time. You know, I would say that if you ask me my top 10 movies, it might not make it in there. But I would tell you that's a top 10 movie in my book. That's one of the funniest movies of all time.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those movies that I never go looking for, but if I'm flipping channels and it's on, John Belushi may have been the greatest character of all time in that movie.
Oh,
I mean, just hold on. Now I got to play it. Let's see if I have it. Oh, I got it right here. Hold on. I could share this on the screen. I got it. Let me know if you can hear this.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
Sherman? Forget it, he's rolling.
And it ain't over now.
That is one of the classic. You know, when he runs out of the room and has to come back and
Yeah.
it's one of the most classic scenes of all time.
Yeah.
That is one of the best movies of all time. I mean, the cast is great. The story is funny as hell. It's one of the most underrated movies
It
ever.
is one of the dumbest stories ever in the history of mankind.
100%.
It's got you on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Yeah, it's just, and I love the fact at the end that they do the what happens to them later thing. It's just the funniest thing.
Yeah.
Senator and Mrs. Blutarski. It's just the greatest thing ever. So good job by you. But yeah, this time of year for me is just very nostalgic. I look back to, my youth and the things I did after Labor Day or around Labor Day. And then obviously as I got older and started hanging out more with my friends and, playing ball a lot, this was such a memorable time. And yeah, if I could go back and do it again, that would be, those mid 80s through early 90s would be the year. I'd love to go back and try it all over again and do a couple things differently. But for sure, this weekend marks that kind of period for me. So
Yeah.
as we creep into the Thanksgiving, we'll start talking about Thanksgiving, and we all know how the Hard Rock and Sports Show will turn into a big Christmas fest, probably the week before Thanksgiving, right through Christmas, New Year's Day. So
I have already. First of all, I still have my little desktop tree up.
We always
Yeah, it's just never coming down. With my
gotcha.
Peanuts Halloween figurines underneath it. But I have already been giving a thought to my Christmas light display this year.
Okay, are we ramping it up this year?
Well, what I did this year and what I may do is I saw one of my neighbors did something. They put white lights and blue lights on all of their shit.
Okay.
So they mix like a string of blue lights in with the white lights, so there would be like.
Isn't the blue light more, as people say, Jewishy Christmas?
Yeah, I was worried about that, but it doesn't matter. It's going to happen anyway.
You're going against that whole thing?
Yeah, because every year I put red lights up in the windows, so I'm going to do green and red in the windows.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do, blue and white lights on all of the bushes out in the front. And I'm not going to give a fuck, man. If somebody firebombs my house and the Jews get out, then I'll know that, what's up, Joe? I know that it's bad. You know what I mean?
But will it bother you to wake up and there's a swastika on your door?
Oh, no. You got to be careful of that stuff like that,
I'm just saying the blue has definitely been is more traditionally the Jewish end of the Christmas celebration.
But a lot of
there's a lot of crossovers nowadays.
Using one color lights for Christmas, I noticed. Whether it's like last year, white and red was big, but a lot of people use one colored lights. So I'm going to do one colored lights.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think a lot of people now have gotten into the used to have the multicolored string. You'd have the yellow in there, have some green, some red, some whatever. I think I don't see a lot of that anymore. And I have multicolored lights on my tree.
Yes.
But I definitely see you're right. A lot of people are going to the singular or non-traditional, let's call it, multicolored lights anymore.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna
and a lot of multi-trees. I know you're a multi-tree guy.
Yes, because we want a real tree and a fake tree.
Yeah.
So last year we got a bigger real tree last year than the year before. The first year we had a small real tree. Last year we had a pretty decent size. It was at least a 5-footer, maybe a 6-footer, but it wasn't that wide. Nice. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, guys, Hard Rock and Sports. Jeff and Tom here Thursday night. We're creeping into the fall season again. Nice on the Labor Day weekend. Hope you guys have a great, safe weekend. Lots of football again. College is ramping up this weekend. I'm going to be penciled in and sitting on the couch watching a lot of football on Saturday. And of course, we're a week away from the NFL. We got a lot of great baseball still to go. We got the home run chase. We got the chase for 73, 761. however you look at it. Of course, still lots of great baseball races to be played out. So I hope you guys are watching. We talked a lot of baseball earlier on in the show. What do you guys think? Is the home run record 61 or is it 73? Jeff and I differ a little bit. He's still thinking the 73. I bank on the 61. To me, it's 61 homers. And if you agree with 73, why isn't Barry Bonds in the Hall of Fame? I asked that question earlier. Maybe you guys out there can tell me if 70 baseball really believes that Barry Bonds 73 homers is the record. Why aren't they letting him in the Hall of Fame? Riddle me that, Batman. But I agree, Joe. 61 is the record. That's my vote. Jeff, a little different on the opinion, right, Jeff?
Well, listen, 61 is the record. I acknowledge that. I agree, but Barry Bonds has it until they take it and then they say no. It is what it is. I don't necessarily like it, but it is what it is. They knew he was doing it. They didn't stop him.
Yeah.
But when you think about it, there's a bunch of guys that are not in the Hall of Fame. Him, Roger Clemens, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, and countless others that maybe will never make it into the Hall of Fame.
Probably right.
But I'll tell you right now, Barry Bonds one day will be in the Hall of Fame.
I don't
His
disagree.
record is going to stand because nobody's ever going to challenge that one and take it down. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And guys, we also talked about the MVP vote. There's a lot of talk to Shohei Ohtani. And Shohei Ohtani may be the best player in baseball. I probably won't even argue it. What he does on both sides, pitching and hitting. But Aaron Judge is the most valuable player. Take him off the Yankees, and the Yankees are not even in question on the top team in the baseball and don't have anywhere near the season. So to me, in my opinion, Aaron Judge is clearly the MVP. Might not be the best player, but he's clearly MVP. So I'm
Frank,
with you, Joe.
I got a comment on what Frank is saying about that the writers put them in the Hall of Fame. That is correct. The writers do put them in the Hall of Fame, but the writers that are responsible for putting these guys in the Hall of Fame when their career ends, that have not put them in the Hall of Fame as of yet, are not the ones that are going to put them in the Hall of Fame. It's going to be the next set of writers that are going to push to have some of these guys put in, or old timers committees. They're going to have these guys put in to the Hall of Fame. And I feel as though that about Bonds is going to lead the way.
Oh, I agree. Yeah. I think Bonds and Clemens will get in with a veteran committee or somewhere down the road. I don't think McGwire, Sosa will ever get there. They weren't that great of players. They were good players before. And during the steroids, they were great home run hitters. But I don't think they're good enough. Clemens and Bonds were great players before steroids. During steroids, they're going to get in. Whether I agree or disagree, I'm not sure, but they're going to get in. But it'll be a Veterans Committee years from now. Hank Aaron's the home run career record, and Roger Maris is the single season record. I will acknowledge that. I think most people are going to acknowledge that. But I think to Jeff's point, because of the culture of today, most people, especially baseball, will not go against it. I think Jeff hit that right on the head.
Well, listen, it's today's people, and when I mean today's people, I mean the ones that are causing all these issues.
The woke culture. Let's call
whatever
it
you want to call it. I refuse to acknowledge them on such a level. Okay, but they're the ones that are causing the stir and everything else.
Yeah,
and it's only going to get worse. It ain't getting better. It's only going to get worse.
Agreed.
So being that it's only going to get worse, you'll see it's just going to continue to go and go and go and go and go. You know what I mean?
Right. Hey, guys, remember this Sunday, the Sunday Audible returns for season number 2. John Marhefka, Jeff, as much as he can, and myself every Sunday morning. Well, this Sunday morning at 9 a.m. I think we'll be moving to Saturday at some point when Jeff has Saturdays off again. But for now, it'll be Sunday morning, 9 o'clock. The Sunday Audible will return, so make sure you tune in for our hard-hitting and NFL analysis each Sunday for year 2 of the Sunday Audible. Check out SundayAudible.com for more information on this show and future shows. And also, if you're buying some NFL gear, go to SundayAudible.com. We are now affiliated with the NFL, and they're purchasing through Fanatics. We are a Fanatics affiliate. You could buy your gear through us, save some money, and we'll get some credit. So if you got to buy some NFL jerseys or hats or whatever, go to the SundayAudible.com and check the link for Fanatics. Save yourself some money and help us out. Maybe Jeff and I can retire eventually.
90 seconds.
We'll see.
Well, I know I'm retiring.
Might not be.
Age 60 and a half, man. I'm out.
I might not be. Who knows? But we'll see where that all plays out. But again, guys, thanks for tuning in. We got a few more minutes. We'll do a little more baseball. We'll talk a little more football, and maybe we'll continue to talk about the Jerry Lewis Telethon and Johnny Bench and Jerry Grody and all that good stuff as we wind down this week's show. But again, guys, please make sure that you have a safe weekend this weekend.
60 seconds.
If you're out there driving around, be careful. Lots of traffic, lots of people. And but make sure you come on back next Thursday. We do this every Thursday night from 7 to 9:30 or thereabouts until we run out of stuff. And again, thanks to all the people who help us out. People like our brothers at the Hemp Wizard Beer Care Co. Jeff is a big user of their products.
I gotta actually make a order tomorrow. To be honest with you.
And they're working. I believe I don't know if I should say it, but I know they've been working on a scent that will be have our name on it or the show name on it. Haven't heard in a while, but I know Mike Weissman promised us. So again, check out our buddies at Hemp Wizard Beer Care Co. If you got a family member or a friend with a beard,
10 seconds.
or they make a great line of skin lotions and skincare products. So make sure you check out HempWizardBeerCareCo.com for more information on those great guys. And of course, Sam Bone and RFO Records, our buddy Jay Giasio, and everybody who helps us along the way. So again, guys, thanks for tuning in. Jeff and I, a few more minutes to keep you busy. And if you guys got any topics, let us know. Call in, throw them up on the screen. We're willing to talk about anything tonight, Jeff. I think at this point.
What do you got?
Yeah, how about Denzel Mims? There's a guy who came out last week and said, "Hey, I want to be traded," and then the cuts came and he's still on the team. Now, if you're the Jets, Jeff, how do you keep a guy who really has been underachieving? All right, I mean, he obviously hasn't played himself into the starting lineup. He's the 6th or 7th receiver. He comes out last week basically saying, "Hey, I want to be traded," and yet they keep him on the roster. And your coach has gone out of his way this week to praise him, as a good guy. He's a model citizen. As a Jet fan, shouldn't that be the first guy cut?
I think they were hoping to get something for him, and it didn't materialize. But I don't know what you think you're going to get for a player that you're not playing.
Yeah.
Okay. And the only thing that you heard from him is that he wants to be traded from the team.
Yeah.
So I don't know what you think that you're going to get for him. So that being said, you should have known you were only going to get a late round pick as it was.
Yeah.
Was Salah, I think, said the right words, the
Correct.
right thing.
I agree.
Up the value, so maybe you get a 4th instead of a 5th. You know what I mean?
Stretch. Yeah, I still think it's a stretch, but I got your point.
I agree, but it's better than saying a 6th instead of a 7th. You know
Correct.
what I mean? Hey, Michael Bifoco, man, what's going on? How you doing? How's retirement, Mike? Can't wait to meet you there. But
Hey,
real quick, back on Mims.
Yeah,
you got to try to play him up because the guy doesn't have a body of work, and then you put him in the last game, and you make him look like he's fucking Jerry Rice.
Yeah, I agree. It was listen. Obviously, they were trying to feature him to get to maybe get some interest in a trade or something for him. Obviously, anybody with any sort of sense knows he's not long for the team. He's not a special teams guy.
Why are you going to trade for him when you know that if and I'll tell you somebody else that got cut that whose career may very well be over, Josh Rosen.
Just got signed. I just saw it come up on the screen. Got signed to the Browns practice squad.
Again?
Just saw it now. Just came up
Wow.
5 minutes ago.
Okay. Well,
yeah, but yeah, you're right.
Once Watson comes back, that's it. He's gone too.
Yeah, that's very possible. 100%. Yeah, here's a guy who a lot of people I was not high on. I don't think you were high on, but teams thought he was the most ready player, and the guy's been the worst of that whole bunch.
Well, when you think about that league, you had Justin Fields, Sam Darnold. Oh, wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. Justin Fields was
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Sam Rosen, Josh Rosen,
and
Baker Mayfield. And the only one that's still fucking playing is Lamar Jackson, who was drafted, 30
Josh Allen.
And Josh Allen.
Well, Baker's starting in Carolina.
He's already been traded.
No, I got it. The
you know what I
shine's
mean?
off the apple. Shine's off the apple. Yeah.
Let's put it this way: Lamar Jackson's fucking MVP, been to the playoffs a couple times. Josh Allen looks like he's going to be one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL at this point in time.
Mm-hmm.
Baker Mayfield was in a competition with Sam Darnold to start in Carolina, of all places.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, and Sam Darnold. Did you see the injury to Sam Darnold?
High ankle sprain now for at least 4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, but did you see the clip of the?
No, I did not.
All right, it's not the most stomach churning, but it's definitely not one that you want to really see.
That bad.
If you
Huh?
come across it,
Yeah, I'll check
it out. But man, ow.
Yeah, I want to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo for a minute, but I want to ask Frank. You know, Frank, I wanted to go see that. It was Kid Rock and Foreigner, and I'm a closet Kid Rock fan. Because I
more than a closet Kid Rock fan, my friend.
You're more than a closet Kid Rock fan?
No, I said you're more than a closet Kid Rock.
I'm not you.
No, you're in more than one closet, I should have said.
Yes, that's very possible. But I like Kid Rock's music. We talked about it. My wife and I talked about going to the concert, and then we never pulled the trigger on it. Frankie, give me a little. What do you think? What was it worth the trip? You know, Foreigner. And I think this Foreigner is obviously a weird band now. I think Jeff Pilson's playing bass in Foreigner.
Yes.
There's a couple of guys who are big names from other places that are playing in Foreigner at this point.
I think there's only one guy left from Foreigner.
Is Lou Gramm even still there at this point?
What is Lou Gramm?
I think he was the guitar player in Foreigner.
I think the guitar player is the only one that is still left. The original singer is not there. Although the new singer they have sounds like, well, who was the singer in Foreigner?
Let me see. Hold on. So current members include Mick Jones, who I think is the original.
Lou Gramm was the singer. Mick Jones was the guitar player.
Right. So Jeff Pilson's there now. Kelly Hansen.
Kelly Hansen,
is now the lead singer. Is an American best known as a lead singer for the band Foreigner since 2005.
No, Kelly Hansen.
Yeah, that's what it says. I'm reading. Kelly Hansen.
Did he play guitar for Queensryche?
I don't think so, but hold on. I'm looking at it right now. Hold on. Kelly Hansen. He's been in a bunch of different projects. He later met Hansen joined Foreigner 2005 after Lou Gramm left due to continuing conflicts with Mick Jones. Hansen's the third singer for the band. Let's see if I can find anything on. He was with Hurricane, with Air Pavilion, Unruly Child, Stuart Smith, Tim Donahue with Perfect World, with Foreigner. So those, no, he was not. No, he was not. Those are the bands he's been in with, but was never with Queensryche.
All right, there was another guy, Kelly something his name was. He played with Queensryche. I forget who. I have to look it up.
Yeah, Frankie. By the way, did they break you out of the hospital, like literally with the IV in your arms to go to the show? I thought I saw like the Roviers broke you out. Is that the way it worked out for you, pal? Foreigners also, let's see, Lou Maldonado, Bruce Watson, Chris Frazier, Michael Bluestein.
Kelly Gray was that guy's name, by the way.
Okay. Now, Foreigners, past members of Foreigner include Jason Bonham, Bruce Turgeon, Johnny Edwards, Rick Willis, Ed Gagliardi, Dennis Elliott, Ian McDonald, Al Greenwood, Lou Gramm, and Tom Thimble. So a lot of people have been in and out of this band. But I guess the last one who's still around is Mick Jones, who is the original guitar player, Jeff. So Frankie, how was the concert? Was Kid Rock worth to see? Was it worth all of that? Curious to see what he thought. I like Kid. I do. Maybe it's because of his politics. Maybe it's because he just doesn't give a shit. And there's a handful of songs I really like, and I like some of the guitar work that's in some of his songs. Again, I'm not a huge fan of that genre, they say, but I do like Kid Rock.
I got to see Kid Rock when he played with Leonard Skinner. They toured together.
Yes. Okay.
And we sat through Leonard Skinner because it was Leonard Skinner. and then I got up and left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was. There was. I'm sorry, guys. There's no way under the sun that I'm sitting in there watching that white trash piece of shit.
Well, I got to tell you, there's a clip from one of the music awards. Now, this is going back a few years because Paul Abdul was in the crowd dancing, and it was a whole big thing. But it was Kid Rock performing. What's that song? God, I can't think of it. They took the melody from Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember that song.
yes, and in the middle of it, Johnny Van Zant and Billy Medlock and somebody else from Skinhead came out and they broke into Sweet Home Alabama in the middle of it, and it's a really great clip. If you're a fan of that genre, Kid Rock is singing with it. It really was. I enjoyed it. If I get a second, I'll try to bring it up so you can see it.
Frankie says missing out. No, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't miss out. Definitely not. I don't like that genre and that style of music of mixing a rap and metal. And to me, it was just.
Let me see if I can bring it up. I
Thank you.
like the Kid Rock. Let me see if it's
Probably VMAs, probably video music.
I got it. I'm going to play it. I know you're probably not a fan of it, Jeff, but I'm
play whatever you want to play, dude. I don't care about that.
I'm gonna play it. It's All Summer Long is a song which I kind of like the song.
When we're in my car, that's not something I'm ever going to listen to.
Yeah, I got you.
You know, I just didn't take him as a serious musician anyway from when he came out.
Okay, let me see if I can get this up on the screen here for you, Jeff. Can you hear it? See, this is what I like. I love the guitar. I love the sound. I get your point, Jeff. I'm not a huge fan of the genre, but I love the sound of the band and the rock and roll aspect of it.
Well, you know that to me, like there's too many rap overtures and shit.
I got you.
Pull your fucking pants up, leave the chain back in the fucking dressing room.
Now this is where I think it's fun.
Billy Powell and Gary Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, Leonard Skinner. Singing songs about Southland. Come on. I miss Alabama once again, and I think it's sin.
You know, I will say this much: that whatever Van Zant this is, I know it's
Johnny Van Zant. I think.
Johnny Van Zant. He's been in Skinhead longer than his brother ever was.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Yeah,
and it's still considered his brother's band.
Yep.
And I don't think there's any original members except for Ricky Medlock, who are from Skinhead, that's still alive.
There's Paul Abdul, Jeff.
Yeah, I think they're all gone, except for Ricky Medlock, and I don't even think he was an original member.
I don't think so either. I think there is a couple of original members still alive, but not in the band anymore.
I don't know. The keyboard player, Billy Powell, I think his name is.
The drummer was alive not too long ago. The original drummer who absolutely was in the crash. He was the guy who was in the crash and like dragged his body for like miles to somebody's house and alerted them of the crash. So but I'm not totally clear. I'm not a Skinhead fan. So
Gary Washington is the only one that's still alive, Frank.
Yeah, I
think the guy that you're thinking about, I think his name was Artemis Pyle.
Yes, that is absolutely the guy I'm thinking about.
He looked like he was dead and forgot to fall down.
Well, I mean, the guy I think broke his back or his hips or something, and wound up getting to some farmhouse, and
Medlock left. If I remember right, Medlock left and came back a couple times.
Okay.
but I know that there was a whole bunch. I don't know the whole lineup. I just know that because one day when I see Medlock in there,
Using Blog Talk
I
Radio.
was like, wow, holy shit, Ricky Medlock. And I didn't know that he was in Skinhead before.
Me,
So I looked it up.
yeah.
He was in Blackfoot, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I believe that was the band that he was in, Blackfoot.
Yeah. I'm that whole
'Cause
Southern
he used
rock
to sing. I think he was a singer. Frankie, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was a singer in Blackfoot. Maybe he played guitar and he sang in Blackfoot.
I'm looking him up, Jeff. I'm looking him up. Ricky Medlock, Wikipedia. Yes, you're 100% right. Best known for Southern, but he was the frontman guitarist for the Southern band Blackfoot and a member of Leonard Skinner. He was in Skinner from 71 to 72. He actually played drums and sang lead on a few songs that would initially be released in 1970s last day. Medlock would rejoin Blackfoot in 72 and later return to Skinner in 1996 as a guitarist. So he was originally the drummer in Leonard Skinner and then became the guitar player a year later.
Wow.
That's interesting, huh?
I know that he's been in Skinner for a long time now, but there was also a rumor that he had one lung.
Oh, okay. Let's see if we see that anywhere, Jeff. Hold on.
No, I looked that up.
No?
That turned out to be a bunch of bilk.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't see that, but an interesting guy. I mean, considering the guy came up as a drummer in Leonard Skinner and then returns 20-something years later as the guitarist in Leonard Skinner, it's kind of interesting. I don't know what's Blackfoot. There's one song, I think it's their song, Train, I think it's called.
It's called Train.
Great tune. Great tune.
It's called Train.
Yeah.
Train. Yeah, John Collins was always talking about it.
Yes, great. I never heard it, and then one day I happened to be on flipping channels on Sirius, and it popped up, and what a great tune! I love that tune.
Starts off with a harmonica.
Yes, correct. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because when we were playing with him, he wanted to do it.
Yeah, that would be a definite song if I ever got into a band again. I'd push to do because I think that's a fun song, but I'm not entirely sure how difficult the song that was.
Train is the name of the song. Yeah,
good tune. That's the only thing I know about the band. To be honest with you, it's literally the only thing I know about the Blackfoot is that song. So,
man, I feel a movement.
All right, we'll call it a night. We'll give Jeff a chance to jump off and do his thing. But
if you start to see me lift up higher, then you know what happened.
Yeah, so let's start the thanks. Thanks to everybody paying attention online. We do appreciate you guys coming around every Thursday night and helping us out with the show. Thanks to my dad for coming on, spending close to an hour with Jeff and I. So thanks to him.
And fucking Frank too.
Frank and Joe Pop Up and Lou Pika early and everybody. Again, we love you guys for doing it, huh?
Big night.
And Frankie, we wish you continue to keep getting better, my brother. We need you around for a long time, pal. We need you around for a long time. Even though Jeff and I are about to start whooping your ass in fantasy football, we still want you around a long time.
You're back in the fucking hospital. And I'll tell you right now, man, I hope that you're not going after Russell Wilson because we may just take him just to fuck with you.
Good night, Frankie boy. But thanks to everybody who pays attention to us. We really do appreciate it. And again, remind you, Sunday Audible show. Make sure you check that show out. Hopefully, Jeff will be able to participate, and we'll get Raphael involved. And but this show will be back next Thursday night. We'll do this all over again, Jeff and I, when we'll be giving you our picks for the NFL season. We'll break down the Jets and Giants final roster, and we'll probably do our wins and losses for the season for both teams.
Well, right now I'm winning, but I could lose so quickly.
But anyway, so Jeff, I'll give you the final word.
Well, it was a great show, man. I liked this tonight, man. This was cool. A lot of fun. We touched a lot of things tonight.
Absolutely. Yes, we did.
And I'm touching cotton.
All right. So, guys, we wish you a great holiday weekend. Please stay safe out there. But for Jeff Towinski, myself, and everybody at Hard Rocket Sports, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our show. We'll see you next week. Please stay safe. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you back here right here on the Hard Rocket Sports Show. Have a good one, man. Good luck.
Don't forget, because of YouTube, you can still watch old reruns of Jerry Lewis Telethon.
Absolutely. And I probably will tonight. I'll definitely watch some roast. And listen, buzz me tomorrow. Let me know when you want to get together and do a draft.
I have to work Saturday and Sunday.
I'm around all weekend. I'm around all weekend. Tomorrow I'm running around with my wife in the afternoon.
Well, that's fine. I got somebody coming to do give me a price on some work tomorrow. Maybe Sunday when I get home from work.
Whatever. I will be in the evenings. I'm Sunday. I'm going to dinner with my parents and my kids about 4, but I'm home early in the evening, 6, 7 o'clock.
All right, so
Saturday night, same thing, and Monday I'm
we'll
around
be in
all day.
touch. We'll be in touch and we'll figure out a time when it works for both of us. But I get out of work on Sunday at 2:30, so we could do Sunday night if you want.
Sure, we'll figure it out. Listen, go take the Browns to the Super Bowl, and we'll talk off the air.
All right, man.
Good night, everybody.
Later.